Buckle up, my good friends. Buckle up. Love it, man. Hey, by the way, I have to say the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to steal a line from my friend from Philly 500. They are officially 0-3. They got smoked last year, the opener. They got smoked in the playoffs, and they just got smoked when it came to the Tush push. Another year to live. For a play that the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm not sure they revere more than what the media and the public revere more. Now, again, I'm going to tell you why the public and the media like to play more than the players. Kyle, Cowboys talk about 3 Super Bowls is the equivalent of a chick trying to say she's hot. Yeah. Like, hey, I like it. Kyle, thank you. Appreciate you coming out of the gate here. By the way, as you can see with Kyle, my boy, all supers go to the top, hit the like button. Let me say this to you. Do you know why? Why do you think the Philadelphia Eagle fans like to play more than the players do? Why do you think? Because that's something Philly has by itself. It's the tush push. It's your play. It's an identity of Philadelphia. Because at the end of the day, I really do believe that the players look at it and go, you really think that's going to stop us on quarterback sneaks? I don't. I think the media and the fans have made more of it. And see, anytime somebody takes a shot at Philly, and that's what this is, NFL taking shots at Philly over the tush push. Philadelphia gets offensive. Hey, God forbid you say anything about your girlfriend, Jaylen Hurts. Everybody goes into a panic. Same thing here with this play. It represents Philly. It's physical. Correct. Thank you for the supers out of the gate here. Shout out to Vrabel, Kelly Moe, Dan Campbell, Harbaugh, Stefanski, Aaron Glenn. These teams are not soft and have balls. Yeah, they weren't bitching about the tush push. You can add Todd Bowles into that as well. Sit the hell down, NFL. Fly, Eagles, fly, says Khalid. Thank you for the supers. You guys right out of the gate. Awesome. Here's my take. What a merit badge that you have half the league. I don't think half the league. You have about 15 teams in National Football League that are so jealous on what you're doing. You know why they're jealous? Do you know why they're jealous of you? They're jealous of you because they can't duplicate what you're doing in the front office, in ownership, and also, most importantly, on the field. This is so petty. But then again, the National Football League is known for being petty. The tush push was actually on the table for conversation is obnoxious. Here, I'm going to tell you why it's more obnoxious than what you think it is. For me, already talking on Poland media about the push. Kimbo, that's funny. Yeah, Kimbo's very plugged into Polak radio in Poland. Nice job there, Kimbo. Way to keep us up to date there. I appreciate that. Do you know why that this is a joke? By the way, I don't know if Jason Kelce didn't change owners' minds today because he was in there with the owners in Minneapolis and he was talking to those guys about the play. Maybe that guy was the ultimate salesman and ended up closing the deal for you. I probably think he had an influence. I do. Here's a guy that ran the play, whether it was with Wentz or Hurts. Here's the problem, though. So help me out here. So the NFL will bring up that they're concerned about injuries. Is that right? Is that one of their things? They were concerned about, okay? They were concerned about injuries. Well, then why are you adding an 18th game? Let's travel for Thursday night ball games. That means you would have to admit that CTE is a thing. And you're basically admitting that football causes CTE. How do you constitute actually putting up the white flag and surrendering to it? Eagles also to be featured in Hard Knocks too. I'd love to see them in Hard Knocks. That'd be great. Yeah, man. So you're admitting that this could cause brain damage? Okay? You're admitting that? How are you admitting that? You're admitting that. Hey, how do I think Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers, is feeling? I think they're just trying to get under the Eagles' skin. Dude, nothing. The players, listen. Listening to Jordan Mailata and him saying, I don't care. That's not going to stop them. Here. I got a topic here. By the way, like I said, today we got Philly 500 and Mark Holmes. We got him and both those guys for Battle Royale 4:30. John Morgan apologized for yesterday. He's going to join us at 5:30. Xander will join us at 3:30. But another year for the Eagles and another 10 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. To pad his stats. Seriously, without the tush push, Jalen Hurts has 18 touchdowns a year. Star. He's a star. And those 18 touchdowns and those fraudulent 10 touchdowns plus a year he gets on the tush push. Fraudulent. But hey, their stats. Right, Sue? Great show, Big Seals. You've been killing it all offseason. Legend of the tush push continues. Go Birds. Dakota, thank you. I love that name, by the way. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I gotta throw this out. I was listening to IP this morning, and John Ritchie was trying to make a case for His Highness Jalen Hurts being the top quarterback in the National Football League. I'm listening to this guy going, I know you're on the Eagle payroll, but really? I mean, seriously, yeah, I know you're being paid by the Birds. But dude, I think that's not pertinent to the conversation. I heard Xander trying to bring that up with John McMullen. His Highness is now like a little bit off. He's one of the guys you can't approach now because he's not touchable because, he's a starting quarterback of yesterday's conversation at the end of the show. I can't tell you how many people were laughing at you because you think because the guy has a Super Bowl ring, that makes him better than the next guy. You know how many NFL people were laughing at you? I mean, guys like Spit 23. Well, Trent Dilfer's got a ring. He's better than Dan Marino. You're like, people were watching that. Even Clint Hurt was going, what? Super Bowl ring doesn't define the type of career you had. It puts a cherry on top of your career for sure if you win those things and you're fortunate enough and you're on a good team. Stupid conversation. By the way, I'm not debating that. Okay, Sills, I turned that crap off after 30. Hey, Kyle, I couldn't say anything after that. They didn't want to hear that Josh Allen played great for 6 months to win the NFL's Most Valuable Player Award. Jalen played great for 60 minutes. I asked you which was tougher to win. The Super Bowl MVP and playing only 60 minutes. It's tougher. I'm like, right, sure, okay. Jalen Hurts lost the MVP. Why? Ask yourself this. Why did Jalen Hurts in 22 lose the MVP? This will put you to bed. Guys like Spit. Why did Hurts lose the MVP award in 2022? Because he got hurt. Absolutely. He couldn't go through the 16 weeks, 17 weeks, 16 weeks, 17 weeks then. Yeah. He didn't win the MVP award because he missed games at the end of the year. Correct. He got injured. Hello? Playing bad and getting hurt. Why did Carson Wentz not win the MVP? The Super Bowl year in 17? Because he got hurt. That guy was a slam dunk MVP. Why didn't he win it? Because he got hurt. Hello? Not that difficult. Seal's boyfriend's team, the Bills, going to be on Hard Knocks. Great. I know already he got his tissues ready. And not for the emotions. Super Bowl MVP, you Mitch. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, good. He's the best quarterback in pro football. Everyone knows it. It's not a question. John Ritchie. Yeah, Jaylen and Wentz didn't win the MVP those years because they got hurt. You got to stay healthy and you got to play great for 6 months. Not for 60 minutes. Give me a break. Yeah. How stupid. If you win a ring, you're better than Dan Marino and Warren Moon and OJ. How many people think Saquon Barkley's a better back than OJ Simpson? Because he's got a ring. Juice went for $2,000 too in 14 games, actually. It was better. No, but Barkley's better. Yeah, he's better. Why? Because he's got a ring? Okay, I'm sure of it. I'm getting off that topic because it's an ignoramus conversation. If you win a Super Bowl MVP, you're not going to the Hall of Fame. If you win a Super Bowl, you're not going to the Hall of Fame. That doesn't guarantee you a Super Bowl. Put you in the Hall of Fame. Winning doesn't also put you in. Joe Namath's got an under 500 record, and Joe Namath's got more interceptions and touchdowns. How's he in the Hall of Fame? Come on. We move on. Had a chance to listen to Nick Serriani yesterday. Had a chance to listen to that presser. You know, I got all the way up to His Highness Jalen Hurts. By the way, hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you being here. Again, Battle Royale will be back. And that's at 4:30. John Morgan will be with us at 5:30. So I had a chance to listen to Nick Serriani. Hey, by the way, hey, Nick, I don't really think anybody thought you weren't going to be extended. What's the big covert deal? I don't think the Eagles want to tell you how much he's making because he's not making the most and he's not probably in the top 5. That's why. What other reason would it be? It's a secret if you're the highest paid coach in pro sports? Who in their right mind would hide that? Who in their right mind would go, hey, we just made him the highest paid coach in North American sports. But hey, guess what? We're going to keep that up. You won't even tell them the years? So that was some type of an agreement between management and Nick that they wouldn't divulge any of the terms. Again, see this right here? This guy's a stupid ass. I want to know what they think of him. I'll say it again. I want to know what they think of him. If you think he's so important and that record's real, you'll pay him the most, like John said. It'll be $21 million. And it'll be 4 years. Yeah. Absolutely. Potentially giving him $100 million. Yeah, absolutely. I want to know what they think of him. Hey, bro, you know what people think of you when they pay you. Not pats on the back. I love that he's here. I don't care what he's being paid. It doesn't. Yes, it does. It matters to A.J. Brown how much he's being paid. Why wouldn't it matter to Serriani? I mean, what? We get this right. It matters to A.J. Brown what Ahmad St. Brown's making in Detroit, but it doesn't matter to the head coach. I got it. Yeah, you guys are tools. By the way, don't get mad at me. Get mad because, once again, the Cloak and Dagger Eagles don't want anybody. By the way, I guarantee you they give it to a national guy and not a local guy like Jeff McClain or John McMullen first. I think the bigger issue is the years. Here, let me say this to you. They're trying to hide the fact that Julian Lurie might take over. Okay? And again, that's a great point about how he being extended, not yet. But he will be. He will be. Absolutely. Okay? And once again, I don't give a shit what the money is. I don't give a shit what the years are. But what it'll tell me is what they think of you. Here, let me ask you this. What do you make of Baker Mayfield's contract of 3 years, $100 million? What do you think the Bucs think of him? 3 years, $100 million. And actually, head-to-head, he's outplayed Hurts in the last 3 ball games. Just keeping it real here. He's outplayed him. What do you think they think of Baker Mayfield? $100 million deal, 3 years. Who gets an extension and they don't think highly of? Twiz, what? How can you think highly of it if you're not compensating him fairly? Once again, dude, quarterbacks and players don't get paid on Super Bowls. The Super Bowl is irrelevant in contract negotiations. Ask that. Completely irrelevant. Super Bowls don't matter in contract talks. They do not matter. Hence, look at the top 10 guys. As a matter of fact, how many quarterbacks in the top 10 have actually won a Super Bowl? That's a great question. Just to show you guys how idiotic you are on that Super Bowl. Top 10 highest paid quarterbacks. Highest paid QBs in the NFL. Has any of them won a Super Bowl? Let's take a look at that. Highest paid quarterbacks. Here we go. Let's see. Because you guys say Super Bowls are so important. Dak's the highest paid. No Super Bowl. Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love are the second highest paid. Funny. No Super Bowl. Tagovailoa next at 53. No Super Bowl. Jared Goff. No Super Bowl. Justin Herbert. No Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson. No Super Bowl. Brock Purdy. No Super Bowl. The top 10 highest paid guys in pro football have not won a Super Bowl. What's your point? What is your point? I keep telling you the fact you're not paid on Super Bowls. You're paid on how people see you. That's how people see those guys. 49ers said you're a $53 million a year guy, not a $60 million. So they put him in the top 10. You guys make it sound because you won a Super Bowl MVP got Jaylen Hurts knocked out of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. How you doing? Whose people? The NFL. Owners. Holy L. Those cheese got fried today. Goddamn, took a giant turd on the shield. Pump. I love this. It's great. Okay? Absolutely great. Look at this guy. I don't even know what the frig he's talking about. This guy's a fucking idiot. No idea what the fuck he's talking about. Bro, it's how people see you and perceive you. On pay and years. This guy's a douche. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Stop counting another man's money. Shut the hell up. Why do you think you make those contracts public then, jackass? Okay? You know what you're talking about, Stuna. You have no idea. Here's Nick. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, they gave me a contract extension, but hey, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Okay, shit. It's great. Great reporting, too. Way to follow up on that. Super Bowl's the ultimate goal. Your theory makes no sense. Really? Take a look at the salaries. How's it make no sense? Get this. This guy's telling me this is not my theory. This is what happens. This is the stupid take again. This guy's attacking me for what the league does. This guy's a dummy. This is a fucking L take. Listen what he says. Super Bowl's the ultimate goal. No shit. Your theory makes no sense. What theory? I don't have a theory. The league pays these quarterbacks. Every top 10 guy in the league hasn't won a Super Bowl, dude. That player's the highest paid player, but he's criticized the most for not winning the playoffs. Okay, because he's the most talented, too, at that particular time. What does that mean? I don't know. Ask a player when he gets a salary or he gets a new contract. I don't know what this means. This is not a theory. Hey, I think I missed the super, Xander. Dude, that's not a theory. It's how teams pay people. It's not a theory. This guy thinks I came up with a theory that you should pay a guy based on Super Bowls. It's not true. They don't. The top 10 guys prove it to you. How much you make? Still crickets. What? Bro, my contract is not public. The NFL publicizes contracts for a reason. You know why? The NFLPA wants them public. And so do agents. You know why? Next guy up. Contracts have always been public. Always. For the next guy up. Once again, 99% of you in here have no idea what you're talking. This is professional sports. Money is part of the conversation. You guys call Dak Prescott the most overrated quarterback in pro football, do you not? We're going to have a topic about Dak here. Do you guys not call him the most overrated? Like, here, I don't really go here, but watch this. This guy's lying. Show us Mike Tomlin's contract or LaFleur's. I'm lying. Andy Reid's contract was made public in 24. Okay? He was made it was made public by the Chiefs. Here. Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin has signed a 3-year contract extension, paying him in excess of $16 million. And again, right here, Mike Tomlin's contract details with the Steelers have been revealed. Mike Tomlin signed a 3-year contract, making him one of the highest paid coaches, in the National Football year. Tomlin is getting paid $50 million, which puts him in the 3rd highest paid quarterback or head coach in National Football League. 16.5 per season is likely a huge part of the reason why Mike Tomlin had signed that contract extension, because of the pay bump. And this is in what newspaper? Let me see here. This is the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Sit down, guy. Go back up north. You know what the fuck you're talking about, jackass. I mean, you break. Contracts aren't revealed. Talk about a tool who's making shit up. Yeah. By the way, hate? Hate what? Wait, I'm hating because the league pays these guys not based on Super Bowls? How is that hating, Joe? I'll wait. How is that based on me naming the names of the top 10 guys and none of them have won Super Bowls is hate? Hey, look at these guys. This got nothing to do with me. I just take a look at salaries when it comes to coaches and players. Tells me how people think of them. Like, here's my take on Mayfield. They got a bargain break on Mayfield. $100 million, $30 million a year. That's below market value. It's the best. Would we not agree that the Baker Mayfield contract is the best contract of any guy who has a legitimate team and a team that has a shot to win a division this year? It's the best contract in football. This guy makes less money than all the top 10 quarterbacks, and he's done more. This guy threw for 41 TDs last year. Okay? Get this. Spinning. This guy says I spun something off of a top 10 highest paid list. How are you spinning that? You're not paid on Super Bowls. You're not paid on wins. Why is that so hard to believe? Why? Hey, by the way, Baker Mayfield kicks the shit out of the Eagles. Sit down. Why is that so hard to believe? How is that spin? How is that spin? I agree, Donald. I think that's a great contract. You get a quarterback to throw for 4,200 yards. You lose both your. Can you imagine Jaylen Hurts losing both his receivers and still throwing for 18 touchdowns? Baker Mayfield a year ago lost both receivers and still threw for 41 TDs. The guy in Philly can't withstand that. Shit, they lost players in that Buck game last year and got rolled. Yeah. Oh, my God, right? Get this. Where? Sills, you're out of pocket today. I can't defend this take. Both sides happy to sign the deal, and it's not mandatory to share contract details for head coaches. You're trying to turn this into a big deal. No. When somebody's going to be, and you guys are telling me that he's going to be, and he's done the greatest job on the planet, I'll tell you why I'm concerned about it. It's not the money. I don't think they think that highly of him. I think they're going to give him about $16 million. They ain't going to make him a coach paid more than Sean Payton or Mike Tomlin or Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, I would think. They're not going to do that because he's not those guys. But look at his record. He's a product of the record. That's how I feel. And I'll be proven right. Mark that down. May 21. He'll be lucky if he's in the top 5. He'll probably be in the top 5. He'll be in the top 5, I would say. Yeah. All right. So let's take a listen to Nick Serriani. And I didn't mind what he said. I didn't. Actually, let me give you an overview before I go some of the quotes he had. Is Nick getting better since the first press conference? Yeah. Yes. And I'll tell you something else. I'm going to make this comment here about Nick and what the Eagles have done. You know, yesterday I made a comment about how the Eagles see people. Eagles look at Mekhi Becton. Wasn't cutting it at tackle. Hey, by the way, Mekhi Becton wasn't going to play if he didn't move the right card. We all know that. he would have been more likely the swing tackle. But they moved him, and they said, let's try him there. They moved Zach Bond inside because they have an insight, and they got a coaching like Vic, who goes, I think this guy might make a really good inside linebacker. He shows a lot of ability. He's a good special teams guy. Remember what he said? Benchmark for me finding a guy is if he's good in special teams. Okay. They carved this role out. Nick Serriani had no idea how to be a CEO type coach. Where did he ever learn that? Where did Nick ever learn to be a CEO at anything? So has he grown into this new role that the Eagles have put him in? Let's do this. Nick Sirianni had no experience on being a CEO at anything in his life. Right? He had no experience on being a CEO at anything. Is this right? By the way, this ain't a rip. Had no experience. Look at this. Shut the fuck up. This guy had no experience. Right? Okay. But what he's done is he's learned. Okay. Can you imagine being an assistant coach and a guy who's got his hands on everything? Assistant coaches have their hands on everything. And you have to pull back from that and not be as involved. Let your assistants do their jobs. So he's growing into a new position. Nick's never been in this role. So do you give him credit for adapting to it? Absolutely. Absolutely, you give him credit for adapting. I'll tell you, I've seen guys put in this role before, and they fail miserably. Okay? So to Nick's credit, he's getting better in this role. Get this. This is not a position Nick has ever been in and his entire coaching career. He's never been in this role. He's never been a guy to sit back and allow other guys to make decisions and put his fate in their hands. It's quite remarkable that he's been able to do this. I think 23 had a lot to do with what went wrong. He said it at the presser too. And I got to give him credit. He's evolving into the role. So let's take a listen to what he said. He wouldn't address the money. That's okay. By the way, anytime a coach or anytime a player doesn't want to answer a particular question, like Jaylen Hurts' snide remark yesterday, that's okay. He's got every right to do that. Hey, sit down. I'm not answering. Okay. It's about time someone had some balls with the Philly media. Then again, you don't have to worry about follow-up questions because they don't have any sack. They're not going to follow up questions. You get smacked in your face. You get your key fob taken away. And as my wife would say, you don't work Monday. And they get the accessibility taken away from you. That's why they kiss their ass. All right. Fair enough. You think anybody was going to press Hurts like we press everyone? No way. That's not happening. Only place you get fair and balanced coverage is right here because we don't care. So that's okay. Nick didn't want to answer it. And I get some of you guys, you like that kind of reporting, don't you? You don't want follow-up questions because you don't want anybody to get your boyfriend or girlfriends into like a tizzy because if they ask any pressing questions, you'll start talking shit on them too, right? You don't want people doing their jobs. This is what you don't want. Like, see, guys like Prince don't want people doing their gigs. They want everybody to be a cheerleader. They want everybody to be great. Wave pom-poms. This might be the wrong show, dude. Let's see. I counted how many times he said Howie and Mr. Lurie. I think I got it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times in that presser, he said, "Thank you, Howie and Mr. Laurie." What do you make of that? Shit, about 20 minutes of the interview was thanking Howie and Mr. Laurie 11 times. Serriani contract. Any raise is better than no raise. He's building a strong resume. He is. It's not about money when you're chasing greatness. It's a great take. And I subscribe to this. Monster, that's a great take. Okay, that's a great take. You're right. You do something you love, you're not doing it for money. You're doing it for a standard you set. You're right. That's a smart take. Okay? You're putting a brand on it. Hey, man, you don't go to work because you look and you're waiting for your direct deposit on Tuesday. You go to work because you love something, no matter what it is. He thanked the owner and the general manager 11 times in that press conference. What do you make of that? Do you have to kiss his ass that much? You're doing a job. I thought you were fulfilling your requirements on being a head coach. You've been to 2 Super Bowls. Let me ask you this. You think being to 2 Super Bowls, winning one, and winning 52 ball games, you have to kiss someone's ass 11 times? Do you? Or do you not have enough of a backbone or resume right now where you could walk out in the open market and get any job you wanted? Let me ask you this. Let's take a look at this. Why are you kissing this guy's ass so much? I get the opportunity, and I get being thankful for a contract extension. Why are you kissing his ass 11 times in a 40-minute interview? Here, let me look this up. Nick Serriani. Are you not confident in who you are and what you are? Here, look at this. Here's Nick Serriani. This guy's 48-20. He's 54-23 with a 700 win percentage. And you're kissing your boss's ass in a meeting, and you're kissing your boss's ass, and you're doing that 11 times. Howie, I want to thank Howie and the owner, man. You guys, hey, dude, you're doing a job. You got one of the greatest win percentages of all time. Why are you kissing his ass? Sills, can you explain why Tomlin is a good coach? All I see is a coach who took a Super Bowl contending team, proceeded to run the team into the ground. I will do that, Kyle. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Why are you kissing that guy's ass? Okay? I mean, dude, you've got a 701 win percentage. I'm doing a job. It's okay. Let's move on. That was just an observation of me. Thank Howie again. Says he loves Philly. You think he represents Philadelphia? This will be a great topic here. Says he loves Philly. You think he represents Philly? Yes. How many people in here think Nick Sirianni represents Philadelphia? Oh, yeah. Twiz, yeah. Let's see. More. I want to see. Keep winning. Yes. I didn't ask you if that. I asked you if he represents Philly. If that's a Philly kind of guy. Why is he a Philly type of guy? I'm not talking about winning. I'm asking you, does that guy look like the face of Philadelphia? When you see Philly and you see him, do you see Philly? He's gritty. Nick's gritty? Explain. I'm curious when you say he's gritty. Learning Super Chat. Love the show. Don Dotson. There you go, brother. You guys think Nick Serriani represents when take the head coaching, when you look at that man, does that guy look like he understands you? I didn't know kissing ass and being a yes man was the face of Philly. Okay. So we've determined an ass kisser and a yes man is the face of Philly. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Gratitude's winning, dude. Doing your job. Gratitude. Hey, when I get a job from somebody, you know what here, I'll give you what I tell Xander all the time. Do you know what my gratitude is to Xander and Joe Kraus? Showing up on time every day, doing a job, and making sure that I never, ever let go of the rope. That's gratitude. That's responsibility. That's thanking them for the chance. Is showing up and doing your job. Not kissing someone's ass. I don't have to kiss their ass because at the end of the day, this is a results business. Show up on time, do your job, and entertain. End of story. That's how I see gratitude. Kissing someone's ass is not gratitude. It's a weakness. You guys show up to work every day at your places and thank your boss? I mean, he's doing a job. Nick's fulfilling the role that here's where Nick is doing a great job. Nick's doing a great job because he's fulfilling the role that they've carved out for him. Doug fought that role. Doug didn't want that role. Doug wanted a different type of role. He wanted to find his own role. Nick Sirianni's strength is letting them define the role that they put him in. Do you not agree with that? Nick didn't define that role. When you get play calling taken away from you, you got to find yourself and figure out what role they want you in. Is that not true? Or no? What? That's exactly what happened. And he's done it better than what I think. Get this. I'll tell you this. You know what he does that's really great too? Actually, I think Nick's got more patience, and I think Nick has shown more character than the owner. And I'll tell you why. I think the owner, I heard Xander say this. I mean, the owner, his emotions at times, he's too emotional. He's more emotional than Nick. This guy wants to fire guys. This guy doesn't show patience at times. Look, I get it. Winning, you set a stand, and again, that goes to show you how he looks at Doug. See, this is what you guys are completely missing when I want to know what the years are and the money. I want to know how that owner looks at him. I want to know how that owner sees him. Money talks, dude. All that other bullshit stuff, kissing ass, telling someone you love it, thank you very much, all this stuff 11 times. All that stuff's stupid. Okay? All that shit's stupid. He's doing a job. Do I think he represents Philly? No. No, I do not. I think the only thing he does that Philly loves is win. That's it. When I look at that guy, I don't see the face of Philadelphia. I don't see an East Coast guy. I don't see a hard-nosed coach. I see a guy that they carved out a role, and he's excelling in it. That's not the face of Philly. Face of Philly is the running back. Mulata, Lane. Those guys look like it. Shit, Jeff, let me ask you this. Who do you think represents Philadelphia better as a face of your city? Jeff Stoutland, Vic Fangio, or Nick Seriani? I think Nick is good as long as Hurts is. They may tie that in together. A lot of times they do that. Who's the face of if you had to pick a coach right now in Philly, out of Vic Fangio, out of Jeff Stoutland, and out of Nick Sirianni, who's the face of Philly? Me? Man, I love Stoutland with that offensive line, with dominance. And man, to me, Jeff Stoutland represents your city. O-line, toughness, greatness, winning, overpowering people. I mean, if I were going to put a coach and I were going to put him in a room, Jeff Stoutland looks like Philly to me. He looks like Philly. Siri, he's not a Jagoff, Kyle. Okay? You see, getting to I don't know, dude. I think he's hit the role they carved for. They made that job for him. Get this, like I said, Kyle, he's never had a job like this in his life in football. Like, he's never had a job like this. And he's growing into the role they've carved for him. Look, when you're an assistant coach, Bill Parcells said this numerous times. Going from being an assistant coach to being a head football coach, that's as tough as a transition for a player going from college ball to pro ball. It's a transition you have to go through. Nick went from being a potential play calling head coach. They cut that off and had to define a role. Since 2022, actually 21, 6 games into the season, Nick started getting better and better because he understood the role. 23, I think, helped define the guy and where he is now with this extension. Again, this is not a rip. It's a brand new coaching role for him. You know how many coaches don't succeed? Urban Meyer couldn't do it. There's tons of coaches that could not excel like this. I mean, make no mistake about it. There's no way. And especially when you don't have your own fate in your hands. Like I said, the most secure job you can have is that if you're an elite play calling head coach. Okay? Now remember something. Elite calling head coaches in the league. Let me show you. Let me do this for you here. Let's go over here. I'll show you how many play calling NFL head coaches there are in today's NFL. Bills, play calling head coach. McDermott calls all the plays defensively. Miami Dolphins, McDaniels, play calling head coach. Jets, Aaron Glenn, calls all the plays defensively. New England, Mike Vrabel, will call all the plays defensively. This is what they've always done and what they're going to continue to do. Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh does not call plays. Steelers, Tomlin calls the plays and influences the defense. Zach Taylor, Bengals, calls all the plays. Browns, Kevin Stefanski, calls all the plays. Houston Texans, D'Amico Ryans, calls all the plays defensively. Indianapolis Colts, Shane Steichen, calls all the plays offensively. Tennessee Titans, Callahan, calls all the plays offensively. Chiefs, dude, every coach that's in the league, very few coaches don't have an influence on what side. Dan Quinn, Washington, calls all the plays defensively. On the other side, Cowboys, Schottenheimer will call all the plays offensively. Very few coaches in today's NFL do not have some type of influence on how that direction is going to go. It's more so the coaches like Harbaugh and Serriani that don't have an influence. If you just take a look at the last 3 years, okay? Look at the last 3 years. The coordinators dictated success. Steichen and Gannon, Desai, Patricia, and Johnson, not success. And then last year, Vic and Kellen. You think there's a coincidence to that? You think there's a coincidence? I think being able to navigate around that is just as impressive as Jalen Hurts navigating around having all these coordinators. By the way, this is not really a negative deal. Some of you are taking this negative. I'm not talking shit on Nick. I think he's navigated himself on giving himself, like if I were to give him a grade on the role that organization has carved out, it's A. Not sure what you're talking about. Okay? And by the way, let's talk football. This is fucking football, guy. A coach's role? Bro, what the hell are you talking? That guy is the worst. He has no winning. I have never seen him with a winning take. Come on, Big Sills. We've already discussed the fact that Nick got No, not like this. This was a role that was brand new. Okay? Any chance that Lurie was counted too? Was he kissing ass or managing up? I think he's managing up. Bob, they carved this role out for him. And I'm not suggesting it's a bad thing in what he's done. He's succeeded. He got an extension. Where are you making this as a negative thing? Where is that? I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're thinking I'm talking negative. Okay. What am I talking shit on Nick on? Define it. Bro, what are you talking about? What shit? That a guy navigated himself to a winning record on a new carved out role that just got him a contract extension, and rightfully so. What exactly are you talking about? Hating. Hey, anyway, let's listen more here because you guys got shit. Some of you have shit in your ears. He made a great comment here, Serriani. I didn't get a chance to listen to it because he was talking as we went on the air yesterday. So I was listening to your King Hurts, and then he came on after. He said he learned through adversity. Of course you do. He's right. You fail more in sports than you do succeed. It's how you take those failures and how you adapt them to your ability to be able to adjust. The great ones adjust. Okay? The great ones do. They adjust. And he has. He's totally adjusted. I like what he said. I was okay with it. We have a great will to win. I think that's by the guys you draft. You know, I was talking earlier today on another show, and I said this, I go, you know what makes the Eagles so good? By the way, so you guys know, I do another show down in Tampa, and I was just singing your praises, that you're the benchmark. You're the team that teams look to on how to do things right. Do you know that? So when you sit in here all day, I don't know, some of the things in here make no sense to me anymore. I called you the benchmark today because you're champions. And I say that. I go, if you want to look like a champion, you do what they're doing in Philly. I said Todd Bowles makes $3 million a year. And his contract's up at the end of 26. You don't want him to go into like Nick, you don't want him to go into a final season. Todd's done a great job there. He's won a Super Bowl as coordinator, and he's done a great job since taking over for Arians. I said what the Eagles do, that's great. They give the money up front, and they reward people for success. They're the benchmark of what you do now, Kansas City too, on how you reward people. So when you sit here and hear me talking, yeah, you're the champs. Okay? Hey, bro, I don't give a fuck if you believe me or not. It's not important. Thanks for the algorithm. I really don't care. It's just fun. I get to talk sports all day. Why would I be upset? This is what I do all day for 6 hours. Why would I be upset? Funny people. There is a great will to win in Philly. Look at the players that you draft. Look at them. Little champions, captains of former teams, excellent talent. Do a great job, man. Okay? Give you credit. Unfortunately, you're not listening to me now. You carved a roll up for a coach who got an extension. But instead, you guys take it like someone's talking shit on your boy because it's not conventional. That's a you thing there, dude. Okay? Hurts is a special player. Thoughts on the new NFL Offensive Line Award? What is it called? The Protector Award? That's going to be interesting to see. My candidates would be, the NFL just came out with a new offensive line award called the Protector Award. I think they should name it the Anthony Munoz Award, or if I were going to name it an award, Leon, what offensive lineman would you name the award for being the best old lineman in pro football? The Larry Allen Award? The Anthony Munoz Award? The John Hanna Award? Orlando Pace is not bad. Forrest Gregg Award. Bruce Matthew. Jeff Saturday's not a Hall of Famer. I got it. I see you laughing there. I got it. If I were going to name that award the Protector Award, who would I put it after? Anthony Munoz is the greatest offensive lineman that's ever lived. So I'd probably go Munoz. I like Mike Webster. That's not bad. Hey, Sue, I want to keep it on the players, you know. And Stoutland's not the greatest O-line coach in NFL history. McKintrick with the Niners, the guy in New England they had up there for a while. Also, Alex Gibb. Those are run coordinators and offensive linemen, that line coaches that were better than Jeff. Jeff's in there. But the zone blocking was invented by Alex Gibb. It was invented by him. Yeah, something you wouldn't understand. So, sorry. It's a little over your head. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. What are you talking about? I know flexing. Hit the like button. This is a good take here by Bob. Feels there's nothing conventional about this franchise. Okay? From the owner writing checks, check. The head coach, check. The quarterback, check. The O-line coach, check. Balancing reps the way he does, it's a great way to coach O-linemen. Nothing. I don't call it dysfunctional. I call it unique. Bob, would that not be a better word for the Eagles? Unique in their approach to football? Unique? Okay? Right? Unique. I don't think dysfunctional. Because dysfunctional means to me Dallas. Trend setting, I like that too. Seals, where do you rank Lane as one of the all-time greatest tackles? I'll get back into what Nick said here yesterday. I liked what he said. I didn't have a problem with anything. Some of you are having a problem with what I'm saying. I don't know why. Guy got a contract extension. I just want to know what the owner and them think about him. Other than that, I think he's fulfilled his role. They carved a role out for him. He's fulfilled it. If I had to put offensive tackles, let me just go here. It's Munoz 1. Second best offensive tackle in NFL history. Let me take a look at this. I don't want to miss anybody. Where's Lane? Best OTs in NFL history. Best O-lineman or best offensive tackles? Larry Allen's the greatest offensive lineman of all time, in my opinion. I got Munoz 1. You know what? I'm going to put Jonathan Ogden 2nd. I think Ogden was sensational. I'll put Pace 3. I'll put Jackie Slater. How many people in here think that Jason Peters was better? I happen to think Jason Peters is a better offensive tackle than Lane. I think Peters is better. Larry Allen's a guard. So if we want to keep that, but Jason Peters is better. Peters is one of the top 5 offensive tackles ever to play in this sport. Okay, I mean, Randall McDaniel was a guard. Dan Dirdorf was a right tackle, and he was great. But once again, I mean, Lane's – do I think Lane's – let me end it. Do I think Lane's a top 10 tackle in NFL history? He's pretty close. Can you imagine this? Is this right? How many years did Trey Thomas play for the Eagles? How many years? I'll tell you this. If Lane wins another Super Bowl and he's been to like 4 of them and he wins 3, you're talking about, again, look at this. See this guy? This guy would tell you Lane's better than Anthony Munoz because Anthony Munoz never won a Super Bowl. Ask any NFL player that's ever played. Munoz is number 1. And it's everyone else after that. He didn't have a holding penalty for 10 years with the Bengals. Walter Jones is great. He didn't have a holding penalty. Is it 12 years? For 12 years. Jason Peters always would throw hands too. Oh, yeah, he was a rough dude. I know, kid. It's okay. Put your Eagle jersey down. It's all good. He's a great player. Nobody's talking shit on him. Jason Peters is better. Let me double check that. Let me go here and let me double check that. How many years did Anthony go without a holding penalty? Anthony Munoz without a holding penalty. Let's see here. I think he missed only 3 games due to injury. I'm trying to find that because I thought it was like 10 years. How many sacks did he allow? 0. That's what it was. In Anthony Munoz's entire career, he never allowed a sack. Name me another offensive tackle in the history of their career that never allowed a sack. I'll wait. Never allowed a sack in his career. Trent Williams will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Anthony Munoz's entire career playing in Cincinnati, never allowed a sack. Don't talk to me about great tackles. He's it. By the way, I got a great picture with me and him. I love the guy. Hard for Lane to get top 10 ranking playing right. Playing right tackle. That's right. He's not going to get the love. Okay. Sills, Prime Peters or Williams? Flip a coin. I'll take the other one you don't want. Okay. I'll take the other one that you don't want. I think I've got a great one. Hey, Bob, what do you make of the comment that I just made? Can you believe that Anthony Munoz in his entire NFL playing career never gave up a sack in his entire career? Sileo and Munoz. I love Anthony Munoz. He's a wonderful man, too. I thought I had a picture of me and him when I was at a Super Bowl. Here it is. Big Sills and Anthony Munoz. What a ball player. Southern Cal. That's the greatest offensive lineman that's ever lived. Play your whole career and you don't give a sack. Yeah. To finish up Nick. I thought Nick had a good. Hey, I don't know. We get Xander at the bottom of the hour. I don't know who asked the question. from that weirdo first press conference he had to where Nick is right now. Are you shocked? Are you shocked on where he is now? From that first press conference, are you shocked? I am. Yeah, because you know why? You're Nostradamus, right, brother? I bet you're the same guy that said that Jalen Hurts was a great draft pick. You know them guys. Revise history. Okay? M. Reyes, what did you think of him when he first was hired and you saw that press conference? What did you think? What did you think of him? I thought he was a buffoon. But then again, I never really looked at those press conferences in the first one. The first one, you're always going to be weird. Okay? That's usually the case. There's a win for you. Holy shit. Who would have thought it? Rolo with a win. First win in like 4 months. Congratulations to you, son. Okay? Congratulations. Unbelievable. At first, I wasn't sure about taking the first-year guy. The flower comment made it weird, too. Yeah, but like Rolla said, I mean, hey, man, some of that shit's nerves. You get a first opportunity. You get the chance to coach the Eagles. I mean, shit. I get it, too. Would I be nervous up there? Absolutely. You're going to be in front of the Philadelphia sports fans? Hey, dude, coaching in Philly, what do you think is tougher coaching? I'll tell you this. You think it's tougher coaching the Cowboys or tougher coaching the Eagles? What do you think is tougher to coach? I can't wait to throw this out at Mark Holmes at 4:30 and also Philly 500. What do you think is tougher to coach? In Philly or in Dallas? If you're the head coach of those football teams, who would be tougher to coach in your eyes? I think so too. Why? You only got to appease one guy in Dallas. That's Jerry. Fans are stupid in Dallas. You haven't won in 30 years. Philly, you got to appease the fans. You got people sitting out back, putting signs up, run the ball. You only have to kiss the ass of the owner in Dallas. In Philly, those fans hold you accountable. Hey, remember, you guys seemingly forget, okay? Nick was walking off the field in Tampa. Does anybody remember what an Eagle fan said to him as he threw popcorn on him? Does anybody remember that guy? Does anybody remember that guy? What'd he say? Hey, Nick, you're done. Hey, Nick, you're done. Right? Shit, I think it's tougher to coach the Eagles. Every day you got to walk out there, and that 70,000 fan base, and then the entire city has got their eyeballs on you. And you know how fast that can change? You watch this year. That football team skids a little bit, and they start wobbling a bit. You'll be back on that guy's ass faster than ice melting on a hot summer day. Hot summer day. Be back on there. Hey, you are a bum. Overpaid. Be just like that. In Dallas, remember this. Hey, James Jones, you think I'm crazy? Dude, Jerry doesn't give a shit. How many times has he shut down radio interviews with guys in Dallas? I say, you guys just sit there and mind your own business. I'll take care of things. He tells the media to shut the hell up. You got to kiss Jerry's ass. Oh, sorry, James. I got you. Dude, you coach in Philly? I mean, hey, I think it's tougher to coach the Eagles. I think it's one of the toughest jobs in sports is to coach that team. You know why? You're never satisfied, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. Flip-flop on what? What the fuck are you talking about? Saying that it's the toughest job to coach? Dude, you're a weirdo. You just say shit to say shit. I don't know. Again, like I said, I talk sports for 6 hours a day. I enjoy myself. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. Anyway, we'll put him to the side for a while. You know why? Because M. Reyes wobbles on stupid takes, shit takes, nothing takes. Usually, he's pretty good. There's about a 30% shot he'll be right on something. So he'll keep throwing shit against the wall, and something will stick. Okay? No way those cheese bums leaked out that the NFL forced them to write the proposal. MFR, staying on your nuts. Absolutely true. Now, I guess the Packers are coming out going, the NFL's kind of pressured us to put that out. Yeah. Hey, dude, like Philly 500 says, you're 0-3. Okay? Let's see here. Seals, Phillies is tougher, but with Houston's success, Dallas is going to get much worse. How can it get any worse? You haven't done shit in 30 years. Bob, get worse? How much? It can't get any worse. It's so bad right now in Dallas. You've overpaid 3 players soon with Parsons. You haven't won. How much worse can it get? How much worse can being in the Cowboy organization or being a Cowboy fan get? There's nowhere else to go. Look at the franchises that have been more successful. Here, let me go to this topic. By the way, I want to wrap up that thing with Nick. I thought he had a good day. I didn't think it was bad. He didn't want to answer the question on the length. Okay, the money, fine. Hey, man, I do think that guy's turned the page, and I think he has grown into this role they carved out for him. He did it much better than Doug. All right. Dak Prescott's going into his 10th year. This is Dak's 10th year coming up this year. He's been what? Let's take a look at Prescott. This is Dak Prescott's 10th year as an NFL quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak has been what in 10 years? Dak Prescott. Let's take a look. He's been what? Scrub's ridiculous. Roma? Okay. That has been a combination of Kirk Cousins and Tony Romo. Fabulous take. Thank you for the 9 months, Q. Okay. Underachieving. This couldn't be further from the truth. Underachieving? Underachieving for a 5th rounder? Were you under the impression Dak was drafted number 1 overall? Or a 1st rounder? Or a 2nd rounder? Or a 3rd rounder? Or a 4th rounder? I think it was 4th out of Mississippi State. I mean, how can a 4th round draft pick be an underachiever? He needs 2,900 yards to pass Tony Romo as the all-time leading passer in Cowboy history. How could a 4th rounder be an underachiever? How can he be? By the way, he beats you. Serviceable? Let's see if he's serviceable. Let's take a look at Dak. So Dak is 76-46 as a starting quarterback in National Football League. He has had 1, 2, 3, 4 10-plus win seasons. He's thrown for 4,000 yards. 1, 2, 3. He's thrown for 20 or more touchdowns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 30 touchdowns 3 times. He's had under 10 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 9 years. This will be his 10th year. Okay? Dak has been what? I think Dak's been a great quarterback. Okay? Get this. Look at this here. According to Sills, he's been exceptional, especially considering he's the highest paid player. This guy's taking what the NFL does and making it sound like I said he's the best quarterback and he's exceptional because he's the highest paid quarterback. That's not my take. My take is quarterbacks are not paid on wins and they're not paid on Super Bowls. That was my take. I never said he was exceptional. I said for who he was in a 4th-round pick, he's overachieved. I don't know what you're talking about, guy. Again, that's made up. Nobody said that. The league does this. This guy's trying to make it sound like I make the rules. The NFL, every guy in the top 10 has not won a Super Bowl on the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. It's not by my design. That's the NFL. This guy's making it sound like that's a take of mine. That's reality. Reaching for what? Reality? I'm not debating what the league does. There's no debate. Sills, here's why there's another team in Texas, and that's winning. Jerry will force things to stay relevant now that they're third at the best in the division and the worst team in Texas. It's going to get worse. Yeah, but again, I think it's tougher to coach in Philly. That's not hey. Okay. And the guys with the most wins are not the highest paid guys. I know this. That's not my point. Dude, if you win a Super Bowl, and by the way, for the record, Mahomes signed a $450 million contract. Hurts signed half the money. I'm not, again, don't get mad at me because the league pays players that don't win Super Bowls. I'm not sure. Again, you think people get paid for winning. They don't. That's not an opinion. What is so hard for that to digest with you guys? What's so hard to digest that? Okay. Hey, Prince, I'll do my show the way I want to do it, like I've been doing it for 40 years. Again, to each his own, dude. I'm sure there's a smarter guy than me, and I'm sure there's a guy who does a better show than me. But there won't be another guy to give you a platform to continually talk shit on me like I do and welcome you in doing it. And you know that. You think you go over WIP or 97.5 or any place and talk shit on somebody and they'll keep you and not block you? Not me. That's not what we do here. Okay? This guy thinks because This guy hates some of my takes, and I welcome him in every day. Nobody does that. That's the uniqueness of my show, bro. Okay? You could call me an illiterate. You could call me not a very good reader. But you know what I do? I give you a platform. Because you give me a platform. Okay? Garbage time. Dak. F them stats. Chokes in the playoffs. He does, Twiz. Okay? Or do you think the organization... Dude, I think... Look, I'm with you, man. I think that guy shits the bed in the playoffs. That game against Green Bay 2 years ago, whatever it was, absolutely, man. I thought that was on Dak. But I'll tell you what, for someone to sit there and say he's underachieved, that was a fourth round. Was he a fourth or fifth rounder? Okay? I'll tell you who's somebody that's underachieving in the playoffs. Allen, Lamar. How about Joe Burrow? Can you really blame Joe Burrow for the incompetence of the Bengals not wanting to pay people on defense? Right? Eagles would never choke like that in Green Bay, especially it was in Dallas, but yeah, I got it, especially how they are whiners. Yeah, that's a really great take in a way. I'll tell you this. I've of all the games I've ever seen Philadelphia play in the last, whatever it is, 4 years, 5 years, Philly doesn't choke games away. I don't think he choked that Super Bowl away. I think there was just mistakes made. That's not choking it away. Choking it away, in my opinion, when you do a choke job, I think when you do a choke job, you get blown out and you get worked over. You know what I'm saying? Get this. Here. So just because he was drafted in the fourth or fifth round doesn't make him any better. He still hasn't shown anything in the last 10 years. I think that's an absolute horrible take. Dak Prescott is better. Is he better than McNabb? Kyle, do me a favor. What was McNabb's postseason record? He's going into his 10th year as a starting quarterback of the Cowboys. Is he better than McNabb? McNabb is still the best quarterback in Eagle history. McNabb is 9-4 in the playoffs. Is that right? I don't believe that. Donovan McNabb 9-4 in the playoffs. That's pretty. 9-7. Thank you, Blaine. No way. McNabb's better. I never thought that. But yes, McNabb is better than Dak Prescott. If I had to pick a quarterback, even though, the moment in the Super Bowl looks kind of weird, I would probably take Donovan. Absolutely. So let's see here. Let me see here. I gotta do one thing before we get Big Z on here. Don't forget Battle Royale too. So let me go to King Hertz. I got to go over to King Hertz here. Hold on here. Let me get there. It is. There's King Hertz. So let's see how many. Let's see something here. This Xander. We'll get Xander up here in a second. Here we go. Rushing touchdowns. Where are we here? Here we go. Rushing touch. There we. Oh Jesus! Look at that. 55 TDs. Let me see here. 55 TDs, 14, 15, 13, 10, 55 TDs. Let me see how many passing touchdowns this guy got here. Let's see here. How many passing touchdowns does this guy have? This guy's got 85. So shit, man. Another year to live with the blown up stat of the tush push. So he gets another 10. So look at that, man. So that, I guess soon it will go. I don't know if it'll ever go away. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's averaging about what? 19. He's averaging about 19 TDs a year. Is that right? Yeah, there it is. 19 touchdowns. Passes. How many touchdown runs? How many is he how many is he averaging here per year? He's averaging 12. Wow. I'm going to make a prediction here. I bet Jalen Hurts leads the NFL this year in rushing touchdowns. He'll lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns this year. Yeah. It's impertinent, you know. Do you think Jalen has a scepter in his locker? All right. Without further ado, can you imagine Jalen having a scepter? He comes out of the locker room with a scepter in his hand. King Hurts. How you doing? Without further ado, we bring our boy in. Big J, Xander Krause. How you doing?
What up, Big Sills?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. The real question is, how are you doing?
Oh, sensational. Absolutely great. I get to talk sports
I love to
all
hear
day.
it. Yeah,
I get to talk sports all day. How could I not be, right?
Yep, I'm with you.
I heard John say that he really thought this thing was going to go away, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
And here it is. It's back. I mean, just give me your takeaway on what you think now, man, with the tush push coming back for another year. And you know what? Do you think the media and the Eagle fans, do you think they think more of the tush push than what the players do? Because when I listen to the players are like, I heard AJ laugh. I heard Milata go, I hate to play, call, whatever they call it. He goes, I don't care if we're pushing or we're not pushing. And then I hear the fans go, they're picking on us. I think it's more, I mean, all right, I don't want to pollute the question. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's pretty funny at this point, Sileo. Like we talk about this macho, manly sport all day, you know, and here we are spending days on end about the tush push, you know, and then it ends up getting passed. It's a little goofy, but I'm happy the play is still there because I think the Eagles are great at it, and it gives them a big advantage, obviously, in every game. But I am worn out of it, and I found it genuinely hilarious that Jeffrey Lurie pulled out all the stops. He pulled out John Ferrari, one of their player personnel guys. He brought in Jason Kelsey, all right, to get the votes they needed. And Green Bay loses it by 2 votes. 22 voted against the tush push. 10 voted for the tush push. And we know the Lions voted for it. The Jets voted for it. The Eagles voted for it. And who else? I'm missing a couple. I'll go and get the the name. The Bucks, I believe the Bucks, but only 5. I've only seen 5 names of teams that were reported that I can read them to you now. Just give me a sec here. Adam Schefter put them out there earlier. All right, so here they are. Here are the 10 who voted against the tush push ban, okay? Eagles, Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Kellen Moore, Jets, and Titans. A bunch of AFC teams except for the Eagles, the Lions, and the Saints.
I'm actually pretty shocked that they had that many teams that were voting against it. I mean,
well, yeah, everybody that I didn't name there is voting against it. So the Dallas Cowboys are scared of it. The Washington Communists are scared of it. The New York Football Giants are scared of it. They all voted to get rid of the play like the cowards that they are.
The Rams too.
the football gods, Sileo, never miss. They will watch the 22 teams that I guarantee you the Super Bowl winner in 2025 comes from the list of 10 that I just read you of people that voted for the tush push. Because what football guy wants to get rid of that play?
None. I not me. I never knew what the argument was. And one thing I agree with John, there's two things in my broadcasting career that I wish I could get back the minutes that I talked on. One was tush push, and the other one was PSI ball pressure on what ball pressure it was with Brady and deflated footballs. I talked more about deflated footballs in my life in the tush push, and I wish I had every minute that I spoke about that in my life so I could add that to my lifeline. I got to tell you, man, I mean, I thought this was more manufactured from the league, and I think you nailed it. I think it had more to do with the optics.
Yeah, I agree.
And more than it had to do
the
with
reason
really
that I
safety.
think, yeah, well, definitely. But the reason I think I really thought, John was telling me, but John's opinion is John's opinion, and typically he has good information, and a lot of his takes on this were about that. But the reason I personally thought it was going to get outlawed is because Roger Goodell clearly was saying in all the podcast interviews, he wanted this thing out. And Roger Goodell typically gets his way, especially when he does it this way, where the table of vote, they put it off till later, and then they do this. So I love that Jeffrey Lurie, comes in and he's like, I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm not just going down. I'm going down swinging on this thing. And that's exactly what he did. And look, it bought him a couple votes maybe. And the tush push is here to stay.
How much influence do you think Jason Kelce had going in there with those owners and telling them the impact and what he thought that play was? Because they wanted his opinion. Here was the guy that was the head guy who has had the most success running it. How much of an influence do you think he had at selling it?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know how big, but I will say this too. The NFL typically cares about people that are catalysts for their sport or people that are big figures for their sport. And Jason Kelce has really become a big figure. He's almost grown, he's not even like a Philadelphia anymore only star, right? Everybody knows Jason Kelce now. So I think they care about people like that because they know he's got the voice of the fan, or at least the fans listen to him. They hear him on pregame, postgame for Monday night or whatever he does for Amazon. So I think maybe some. I thought it was a strategic, interesting move for Jeffrey Lurie to bring him in. But listen, they did what they needed to do, man. And the Eagles are going to be pushing tushes.
Hey, all I see, you know what that play means to me? They still start every series 1st and 9. Okay,
man, they really do. Now, here's my question with it. All right, that I had that I guess will no longer. I think it would have changed the way they did it. Right, like. Last year, they were willing to do it on their own side of the field in playoff moments. It didn't matter what time of the game. And remember, we used to say, even when they converted that time, it's like, holy crap, why are they going for it here? So I did wonder how it would change that approach, but those questions are no longer needed. And the Philadelphia Eagles now, Jalen Hurts, mark them down, another 10 tutties on the ground.
Absolutely, man. How about this? Think about this for a second. Let's just say you have 10 series. Okay. Or say it's between 10 and 14 series, right? And I don't know, let's go and compromise and say 12. Think about what those 12 yards are and the difference of a game that's inches and what those 12 inches mean when it comes to like the Jaguar game or it comes to the Browns game and it comes to tight games and how much a game of inches matters when you're winning 12 yards per game that you play. And over 10 games, you're winning 120 yards, which is a full football field and 20 yards. You added over 17, you're winning 2 football fields because you dominate that play. I'm sorry, but I think that's a huge advantage. When you're starting out 1st and 9, that shit adds up over a year, dude.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. It's a good point by you. It really is. And, it shows you, look, this play was important. The team wasn't good because of the play, but the team helped a good team be great. There's no doubt about that. You have obviously all the great players, and I'm happy it's coming back now because I get to watch all the other fan bases melt down.
Right.
Yeah, right. Melt down all year about the stupid tush push. It's like a bunch of crybabies. It's unbelievable. But that'll be fun to watch. That'll be fun to watch.
Especially Green Bay. I stole something from Philly 500, who's on next hour. He goes, the Packers are 0-3.
Yeah.
This year, they got dusted in the Brazil game. They got beat in the playoffs, and now they lose this.
Yeah. Wait, how about this, too? We beat them in the playoffs. 22-10 was the final score. And then the vote today was 22-10.
Oh, God. That's classic.
You know what I'm most happy about with the voting? You know what I'm most happy about with the voting? That none of the NFC East teams voted for it, because it just shows you how much that, whether they spoke or not, they wanted this thing out of there because they were done dealing with it. And now they will have to deal with it again. And as predicted, the Philadelphia Eagles will win the NFC East again. The Commanders won't be able to.
Commanders.
No, they're not. No. You're telling me a team that voted to outlaw a push play in football is got the stones to go in there and win the NFC East? Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Because why? Because you got better. I know. Hey, let me ask you something.
Wait, did you see, by the way, Hard Knocks in season is NFC East?
Oof.
Wait, so you remember last year they changed it from one team to a division. Last year it was the AFC North, I believe. It was Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
I didn't hear this.
You didn't watch that last year, dude?
No. I didn't hear that they're doing the East. When did that?
Yeah, they're doing the NFC East. That's what they're doing this year. So the NFC East are going to be at Hard Knocks. The second I saw that release, you know what I thought of? You could probably guess. You. I said, this is a content machine for Big Sills. Are you kidding me? This is a content machine.
To the football gods, thank you so much for this coming season. In-season Hard Knocks, NFC East. Oh, my God. Hey, I'll tell you one guy who doesn't want that. That's the guy in New York. The guy in New York don't want to be on that. After that
they're going to make that a bit. They're going to make that a big storyline. They're going to make him answer those questions. So that'll be good. But no, I am looking forward to that. I actually am one of the people that likes Hard Knocks. I know a lot of people joke on it, but I'm a football honk. Like especially during football season, if there's football content covering a team with inside access or whatever, even if it's scripted, I don't really care. I love watching it. I like seeing the inner workings of the organizations, the franchises, the practice fields, everything. So it's really dope. Lamar, unbearable. Unbearable is putting it mildly. Lamar, are you kidding?
Lamar, why are you setting the table here for that right now? That you're already predicting that. I mean, do you really think that Emois will be unbearable because of the massive content that will roll out of Novacare? Come on now.
The amount of content you will get from Your Highness and Nick Serriani will be unbelievable.
Oh, my God. I'll have John's neck redder than a cherry.
Oh, man. You're right. You're right.
I got to tell you, man, I watched that Nick Seriani press conference because he went on after I went on yesterday. He was at the back end after His Highness was done. When Jalen Hurts got finished, Nick Sirianni was there. And so, then His Highness got finished and he passed the scepter. I got to tell you, dude, I listened to the press conference and I came away with this. He didn't want to answer how many years of money. Okay, that's all right. But I took away this. From that first press conference, from planting flowers, whatever it was, to where he is now, what do you make of him?
Tremendous growth, but maybe not in the way that we originally anticipated for him as a coach, right? When he was originally hired, he was an offensive guy, former wide receivers coach, offensive coordinator for a short time in Indianapolis. But I don't think we expected it to look like this 4 years later. I really don't. He's been super successful. I happen to like him. He's not my number one style. But I always say I don't need him to be my number one style. I just want him to work for the team. And I think he does a really good job. I think this organization is harder to operate in for coaches than most think. When people ask, what does Nick Sirianni do? Like, he's got a much different slate of things that he does that coaches in other places might not have to deal with. So I think he does that very well. He allows the owner to, have his finger on the team without messing up the product on the football field. He allows Howie to shake and bake the way he does. And I think he's inside his sandbox and he operates well inside there. So what do I make of him? Successful, winner. Winniani is the best nickname for him. And, coaches, I was listening to a segment from someone, I forget who it was. And they said coaches only have one thing. You're a player, you're a quarterback, you got passing yards, passing touchdowns, running yards, wins and losses. When you're a coach, you got one thing. What's your record? Now, it's not always a perfect indicator of what a coach is, but that's the only thing you got. And that's what Nick Sirianni has, and it's damn pretty right now for him as the head coach of the Eagles through 4 years. So, Nick Winniani to you, Sileo.
700 win percentage, and I counted 11 times. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Thank you so much, Howie. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Holy shit. If you got a 700 win percentage, don't you act like it? Thank you so much. Hey, Howie, I love you. Seriously, I thought there was going to be a soliloquy thrown at these guys. Hey, I really love. Wow. Hey, thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity. Hey, son, they carved the role out for you. You defined your role. You're growing in your role, and you're winning in the role. Remember something. He's never had a job like this in his entire life in coaching. You know what that is? Like you said, do you think it's more about navigating through the Eagle organization or coaching?
For him, it might be navigating.
Correct.
Because you got Vic. Offense, you've obviously given the coordinator, and I think Jalen Hurts, honestly, has handled a lot. Stoutland. No, but that doesn't mean you don't coach the football team.
I'm not.
No, but you're right. He's not.
Role.
Yeah, he's not like the leader of the offense or the leader of the defense on either side. I think he's the leader of the football team overall as a whole. And you even kind of heard Jalen Hurts reference it, right? He called Kevin Patullo, if anybody picked up on this the other day in the press conference. I don't know if he used the term head of the snake or, top leader of the offense or whatever he used, but he kind of said, he's managing the offense now. So I don't think it's a bad thing, though. I really don't. I mean, I think clearly Nick was in over his head when it came to just offensive football. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he's really found his role here as the CEO.
Organization defined it.
Well, the organization helped define it. The only thing I dislike about Nick is when he acts like a child. I don't like, you can be emotional. That's not acting like a child to me, but there are certain times where I just, and this has been me forever. I just don't like, dude, stop acting like a kid. You're not a kid. All right. You're the head coach of a $10 billion organization.
With a 700 win percentage.
I know that. So that's all the good. I'm just giving you my full thoughts. Whether people like them all or not is fine. But I'm just telling you the one part of Nick that bothers me a little bit is that where it's like, I don't really think you should bring that on yourself. But hey, listen, what he's done has worked. So again, my opinion is just my opinion. I just think in certain moments he could be a little bit more adult-like.
Here's something that kind of made me chuckle at his press conference yesterday. I love Philly. And I looked at that guy. I know people from Philly, and I know people from New England, and I know people from the East Coast. Yeah, man, city's tough and this and that. And I go, son, when I look at the face of Philly, you ain't it. Nobody kisses people's asses in that town. Nobody is a yes guy in that town. And if I had to look at other coaches in that organization that have the face of Philly on it, it's Vic, it's Stoutland, it's those dudes that look like Philly, that are tough. They have a physical presence about themselves. You ain't it. You look like a librarian. I go,
come on.
That guy. So wait a minute. If you said the face of Philly, Vic, Nick, or
no. See, this is what you're missing. Now, maybe what I just said about him not being an adult, that's brought him so many headlines that whether you like it or not, he has become a massive face of Philadelphia. All right. Now, you might not like that, Big Sills, but Vic Fangio is not the face of Philly. No, he's not. Neither is Jeff Stoutland.
I'm talking about what man do you think looks like the face of Philly? Nick Sirianni or a guy like a tough guy in Stoutland What
Nick Winiani was
represent-
missing a Super Bowl
Dude,
trophy 3
if
months
you
ago.
take that winning away, I look at that guy, seriously, he looks like a guy that works on the 600 level over at Lincoln Financial going, your seat's on the third over there next to the corner on one.
Where's the Paisan love? You got love for every other Paisan in the world except Sirianni. What's going on with that?
That's really one thing that really does bug me the wrong way. It really does that I have to, it's like hate on hate Italian, and I really don't like doing that. I'm very prejudiced with Italians. That means I'm really in love with them. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's kind of like, isn't it funny? I take a shit on AJ and I take a shit on Nick, and I'm kind of AJ. I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I got.
By the way, I meant to show you this. Did you happen to see what Howard Eskin put out on Sirianni's contract?
No.
And, you know, say whatever you want about Howard Eskin, whoever's out there listening. Howard Eskin was a guy that was very plugged into the Eagles organization.
Yes, sir. He knows what's
now.
up.
He didn't put an exact number on it, but this is what he did put out. What I'm told is it's nicely past 10 million a year. Now, nicely past could be 15, could be 20, but it could also be 11.
Nice.
That's what he tweeted out yesterday on Eskin's account.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Nicely past is probably 15, like I said. I'll get Howard on. Hey, nicely past. They paid him
nicely past 10.
Yeah, that's 15.
Dude,
because they would have said,
it can't be international. It all depends. It all depends what Howard's thinking. Like, nicely past 10 million could be 10.5. That's $500,000 more than 10. All right. That's a lot of money. I don't know who's counting your money, but $500,000 more than 10 is nicely past 10. Now, in the grand scheme of things, with the money they're making, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 13, maybe it's 15. I don't know what it is, but
because he would have said it's closer to 20.
Right. If it was 18, he would have said nicely past 15.
Yeah.
Nicely past 10 is 15. Liam Cohen.
Oh my God, they undercut him.
I'd give Nick 21.
I'm right.
Nick earned 21.
They gave this guy $14 million. What do you mean? That now you know what they think of him? I think that's right.
What if it's 20?
It ain't 20 because Howard.
You don't know.
Wait. Okay, wait a minute. What's this? Hey, it's nicely past 10. They paid him $100 million.
You understand? Nicely past 10 gives you a range of 10.5 million to 45 million. Like that's not a good range. All right.
No, you're right. No, you're right. It's nicely past 10, and it's probably 21. Holy shit. Wow. More ammo.
Oh man.
People are right. They paid him.
Dude, Nick Winiani just keeps winning, Sills. What do you want me to say? You want me to have an opinion on the guy? The guy just keeps winning.
And yet they don't pay him like he's winning. If you're the greatest coach in the NFL with the fourth winningest percentage of all time, you're telling me you don't pay him more than Andy Reid?
Well, Andy Reid maybe not. Andy Reid's
okay. How about the?
They're already carving out Andy Reid's spot in the Hall of Fame.
How about Sean Payton?
Sean Payton's a stiff.
He's 9-9. Sean Payton makes $19 million a year.
18.
$18 million a year.
Well, you want to start the funny numbers? Get them right, my guy. All right.
$18 million.
That's where I think Nick should have been between 18 and 20. Remember, I predicted yesterday he'll come in at 19 million.
He's coming in at 14 to 15 million. By the way, that doubled his pay. More so. He was making $6.5 million.
He's up in the 2 Super Bowls. Liam Cohen couldn't even say the hometown of his new team and got 12 million. Because he got Baker Mayfield to throw for 4,500 yards when Baker threw for 4,200 the year before. What the hell has Liam Cohen done?
What did he get, 12.5?
12, I think.
12?
12 or 13, one or the other.
Jesus Christ.
Nick Serriani deserves a lot more than that.
So you didn't pay him more to John Harbaugh then?
I would have paid him more than John Harbaugh. And if the owner didn't want to pay him that, then he maybe should have just moved on from the coach, because why have a guy that goes to 2 Super Bowls that you believe is so damn good and you don't think he's worth that?
No, that's what they think he's worth. Hey, Xander,
19 million.
Sills puts you in the poorhouse, doesn't he?
19 million.
Hey, wait, Xander. Sills puts you in the poorhouse every week, doesn't he?
I'm not in the poorhouse.
Hold on.
Never in the poor. I'm rich in many things, Big Sills.
You know why? You know what he does, folks? Okay? Because he ponies up. Why ain't the Eagles ponying up?
I don't know. It's a good question. They did pony up. You don't know that they did it.
Worst thing
I ever did was read this to Howard.
Oh, this is wonderful. Big Sills for the 2025 season.
Man.
First W of the year.
What am I going to do with Big Sills? What am I going to do with this guy?
First W of the year. I told you that bitch come in at 14, 15. And again, I don't really care, but I want to know how hey, did he say what the years were?
No, he didn't say anything else.
Because I'll tell you what I would look at also with that. If they gave him 4 years, that's a substantial amount of years.
Wait, this is how you know that Howard most likely copy and pasted this from his source inside the Eagles. He put, I'm told nicely past 10 million a year, but it's not money that drives Serriani. He's a terrific coach. Wait, he's a terrific coach who gets his players to play at their peak. The coach is driven by hard work and dealing with adversity. Nick will be the only man in America to not care about his salary.
You see what Howard did there? Howard wanted to make sure when he said north of, you don't think they paid him 12?
I don't know.
They'll never release this.
It'll come out eventually.
No way. No way.
Yeah, I'm with you. Someone else wrote that. I agree. What's that?
You think Jeff McClain will get it?
I think Jeff has probably a good chance. Jeff got it first with the deal. He got the Howie deal when Howie's deal came out 3 years ago with the 3-year deal. Probably.
I'm going to kind of somehow ask Frank. I don't know if Frank.
This is what I hate this comment. Like, Big Track, I love you, but I don't care what a man makes. I'm simply analyzing the football team about what the owner values as a head coach. That's it. I don't care what he makes. Nick could make $50 million for all I care. I do not care. No, I really don't.
I don't care either. I have no caring.
We're talking about the football team. It's a part of it. What does the owner think of your Super Bowl winning head coach? That's a fair question.
Here, there's coaches. The guy at Georgia makes more. Kirby Smart.
Yeah, Kirby makes what, 12 or 13?
He makes 13.
Boy, is he the highest paid college coach? He should be.
Yes, he is.
Now Saban was a genius. He had the clause in his contract. Anytime someone gets paid more than me, my deal gets redone.
Hey, M. Reyes, I didn't put this out. You're an old sideline reporter. Howard Eskin, north of 10.
Howard is connected.
Hey, how about this? That's like saying this. Hey, he makes north of minimum wage. He's very well north of minimum wage.
Dude, if you were an owner, all right, let's just say let's just play a little role play. You're Jeffrey Lurie right now, and Nick walks into your office after the Super Bowl. What are you giving him? Hot shot. Huh?
You've talked me into something on him. I'm going to tell you what it is. Honestly, seriously, you've talked me into that. Just like your quarterback. He may not be the most talented guy in the league, but you know what he does? He does everything we ask him to do to win ball games. And that means, you know what? There's a value to that where people go along to win and do the things and how we want to go and approach about it. I think there's something to that. So to your question, I'd probably pay him 11-1.
Look at Devin. Depends if he brought the right donut and didn't F my coffee up.
Oh, by the way, I like Krellers too, Devin. So wait a minute.
Man.
The winning Super Bowl coach just got he's like the eighth
Wait a
highest
second. So
paid guy.
you believe that everything else is the reason for Nick's success. It's not Nick. You could plug anybody in there.
Yeah, I do. Because they have. I think Howie has been. So what do you think is more instrumental in the Eagle winning? Howie's drafting and the hiring of assistants, or Nick?
Howie.
Can I tell you one thing? What'd you say? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Howie.
Okay. Don't you agree that Howie may pollute the salary for Nick, because Jeffrey's got to go like this? If I give this guy fucking $20 million and I bump this guy up to $7 million, hang on here. Wait a minute. The guy over here is the guy I call and I say, what assistant are we going to get? What are we doing in the draft? What kind of players are we bringing in?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't pay one guy more when the other guy's more vital, right?
Well,
maybe
I
that's
can't.
why the numbers
Shoot.
down. Because
You want to talk about Howie, man? That guy's the top GM in the league's making 6.5. Howie Roseman is severely underpaid. That guy is a freaking beast at his job. All right,
that
Howie
guy
Roseman.
I'm paying 20.
Yeah, Howie Roseman's earned every penny and more. All right. I told you, if I was Woody Johnson and I really wanted to resurrect my team, I'd give Howie 1% of my team and the salary, all right, for the year-to-year basis, and come and build my football team. All right. That's what I would do.
10-5. Holy shit. They gave him 10-5.
Look, Elizabeth says the Fangio hire was phenomenal. Now, what if that was Nick?
Hiring him?
Yeah.
Do you think Nick brought him in as a consultant in 22?
Probably not.
How about this, though? Next year, they're going to bring Frank Reich in. That's got to be Nick okay in that. Feeling comfortable with that guy coming in, because you know how much the Eagles love that guy. That guy will be the coach. He's going to be on your coaching staff after this year. I know.
Frank?
I've talked to Frank.
Well, yeah. What a limited role, though, probably.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
no, consulting role. He doesn't want to be a
coordinator.
coordinator. He
No,
said it on our program. He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I got no issue with that. Frank's a great coach. Frank's a better guy. He's a good guy. I think he relates to players. I think Frank is an all-around good dude to have in your organization. I mean, the other part of this is, sometimes we overcomplicate it. Get good people, get good people that know their stuff, that are smart people, bring them in, bring them together, and get a good product. So I think that'd be great to have Frank back. Wait, I love that. Let me find one comment, because I saw Twiz asking me to bring up his super chat. Let me see. We'll get to all the super chats, by the way, for everybody.
11-5.
All right. So Twiz said he could get 20 a year and go 4-13, and he would be fired. Well, Twiz, when you're sitting on the couch after you get fired and you're in Cabo San Lucas or wherever the heck you might go, would you rather be making 20 million when you're sitting on the couch and you're fired, or 11-5? I mean, come on, Twiz. You can't take the human element out of this, man. Like, people are like, all he cares about is the Philadelphia Eagles. No, guys, we're fans. That's all we care about is the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni cares about his checkbook. All right? He does. That's a human thing. You're all men or women or whatever you are. You don't care. You just, the money in my life is, who cares? Nobody cares about. No, come on. That's not reasonable. That's not reasonable. Nick absolutely cares.
So, like, do you personally think like that, like his old lady is not sitting there going, hang on here for a second, I got to see this here.
Look at Korsky. Sirianni's worth $20.
Here it is right here. I'm reading it.
Come on, Korsky.
Hey, here, I'm reading it. Head coach Nick Sirianni just got off signing a multi-year contract with the Eagles at what I'm told is nicely above minimum wage, but it's not money that drives Sirianni. Here's the company line. So he's telling you it's a little bit above, or nicely. Okay, say it's 14, above 10 million. But it's not the money that drives Sirianni. It sounds like all these stunads over here in the chat room. He's a terrific coach. Gets his players to play. They love him. He makes it work. And this coach is driven by hard work and dealing with adversity. He's not driven by the money. Okay. He's the only coach in pro football history that's not driven by a paycheck or a player.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm calling BS on that part of it for sure. For sure.
Holy cow. This guy, he's being paid north of minimum wage.
Listen, there's only one thing that matters. All right. And that's this dude winning and winning and winning so much that his name is no longer Serriani. It's Winniani. All right. And that's what he's done. And you can have an opinion, and everybody in the chat can have an opinion, and I can have an opinion. The guy keeps winning. No.
Paychecks aren't opinions.
No, they're not. That's a good point. They're not opinions.
Okay. That's what you think of somebody. I know what you think of me, dude.
Dude, they didn't give him 11 million. Like, there's no way. There's no way.
I'm going to say this just because I think it's going to be fair. They got to give him 15, right?
God, I think you'd have to, man. I think you'd have to win. You'd have to give him 15.
Dude, I think it would be criminal if you don't. I'm not a fan. You have to pay for that with the guy. Hey, look, you asked the guy to be exactly what you carved out him to do. Did he not do it to almost perfection? Dude, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and you win.
Yeah, I know.
You
the same thing I told you against me. I know. I would pay him.
But on.
I would pay him.
I tell you this. I love everyone going, John won. Well, no, John never said this. So I got to be
21. He said if I'm his agent, I'm asking 21.
They probably laughed him out of the building. Nicely, hey, he would have said this. Howard would have went close to Andy Reid.
Let's see what my boy Bob is saying. Where'd that Bob Brown comment go? Here he goes. Let's see what Bob normally has a good thought on stuff. Let's see what Bob thinks. Bob says, Xander, just a thought. Nick is young kid, so he might take less than market, but for more years, so his family will be stable. Less money gives him more rope. As Sil said, Nick is unique.
Look, the years.
Remember, his kids are like school age too. People don't think of that stuff. People don't want to take their kids out of their schools, and move their kids to a new city and everything in the middle of their childhood.
Years matter. Let me ask you this. Okay, if you took less money and more years, would you rather have this? Say you got fired after 3 years. You still had 2 years remaining. Out of 15 million, you got 30 coming to you, sitting on the pine. I mean, that's what Frank did. Frank's getting $9 million a year over the next 2 years. Per year.
Sounds like the greatest job in the world is a fired
NFL coach.
NFL coach.
Hey, the guy in Washington, you know why Cliff Kingsbury didn't take a deal?
Right.
Because he's still getting paid $10 million from Arizona and the Bidwells.
Right.
He's like, bro, I'm not taking some sort of stupid, shitty job when I'm still getting paid, and I got Jaden Daniels with me here. All right. We got the Battle Royale. We'll do the super chats here in a second. I got one more question for you. Dak Prescott's going into his 10th year as his starting quarterback in national football.
What an underachiever. What an underachiever.
How can he be an underachiever when he was a 5th rounder?
Because he's never accomplished what they were supposed to accomplish. They had 3 number 1 offenses in Dallas.
Maybe a 5th rounder that's ever gone on to do.
Okay, so let me ask you this: so if Brady lost in the first round of the playoffs every year, would you have not have held him accountable for that?
So
what do you wait? You want me to just take your draft position for life, and that's how I justify whether you were a good NFL player? Or
that's
not?
What we do with Jordan Daniels. That's what we do with Jaden Daniels, or what's his name? The defensive tackle. That's what we do with him because he's a 13th pick.
And we've talked about this before. It's time to judge him on what he makes. Dak Prescott signed a max contract deal. How many years ago?
Hold on. Last year.
No, that was not the first deal.
No, the $60 million. You're talking about
$60 million was last year. He got a $45 million deal a little bit before that.
Hold on. So you think a guy that's thrown for 40,000 yards, 35,000 yards, and 148 touchdowns, and was a 5th round pick, is underachieved?
Underachieved from a team perspective, absolutely. If he did that in Philadelphia, I guarantee you Philadelphia would say, thank you, the new Donovan McNabb. Where the hell's our ring?
So was Joe Burrow underachieved?
People would rather Jaylen throw 2,800, 2,900 yards every year for the rest of his career if that means more wins for this organization.
He
Dak
can't
Prescott
control the Cowboy management for making poor decisions.
He had 3 number 1 offenses, Sills.
Let me ask you this. What does he have to do with Mozzie Smith being drafted?
Well, that's a bad draft pick. I mean, yeah, that's tough. But
well, the Eagles draft Jalen Carter and they draft Jordan Davis and they draft Wright. This guy's in an organization and hasn't gotten shit right in 30 years. I'm saying
but that doesn't excuse the wait. Is
Mozzie Tony Smith, Romo's over underachieved?
No. Ready? Is Mozzie Smith the reason that Dak Prescott threw 2 picks in the playoffs 2 years ago? No. It's the same conversation I had with John about Lamar Jackson where he's saying, oh, Andrews dropped the pass. I'm like, I don't care. You can't have 3 turnovers.
Bro, you got a guy who was a 4th-round pick. His expectations to be a starter in this league were never. Well, you don't draft 4th-rounders to be starter.
But by that standard, then you're just judging. Yeah, I mean, the player individually, yes, personally has achieved a lot. I mean, if you're telling me you got drafted in the 5th round and he's making $60 million a year, obviously – personally, he's achieved a lot. We don't play a personal game. It's a team game. So for the team,
I hope you apply
what
that
he's being paid, he is under-delivered. Yes, in a big way.
Okay. Do you think Tony Romo's under or overachieved?
Well, he underachieved.
He wasn't drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. What do you think? Those guys never make the team.
Personally, he overachieved.
He's like Ian Book.
Again, personally, he overachieved. For the team, he underachieved. Jaylen does the opposite.
How can that be a player's responsibility when the team – do you think the team failed in New York, Saquon Barkley?
Yes.
Okay. That's not Barkley's fault.
Well, that's fair, but that's a different conversation. I mean, you're talking about if somebody underachieves as the quarterback of a football team and they never win. Now, are you telling me in the 11-year period that Tony Romo started or whatever it was, 9 or 10 years, that he never had a team that was good enough to go to the Super Bowl? Is that what you're – because if that's your take, and maybe it is, then that's fine. Maybe Tony Romo did overachieve. But in my estimation, the Cowboys have had enough good players to win and get to the dance. They've never done that. Tony Romo never had a big game. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott combined haven't done what Jaylen's done in the playoffs.
John says it every morning. Organizations fail quarterbacks, and he is so right on that. How many times now do we see other guys going to other places? Look at Baker Mayfield. You think the Cleveland Browns failed him? Yeah, he was the number 1 overall pick.
I see what you're saying. I'm more.
And now he goes to Tampa, and you got good organization around him. That $30 million, $100 million deal looks like a steal now because that kid's starting to fulfill some of the things the Browns saw in the evaluating of the player.
Yeah,
organizations.
You're right. I mean, listen. Organizations do fail players, but I think specifically in this case, I don't see that with either of these 2 quarterbacks. I mean, listen, we rag on the Dallas Cowboys, but they have a pretty good front office department outside of Jerry Jones. I mean, Will McClay does a good job at drafting players. They've had great offenses. They've had great teams. They've had a lot of great players. I mean, for us to sit here and act like they've been the Jacksonville Jaguars and Dak Prescott has 40,000 passing yards with that's just false.
Jacksonville's had more success with them than the last 30 years.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, which is pretty funny. But they've still had good players. No,
they have. They've had good players here. Okay,
but again, Jaylen does the opposite of this. Jaylen is this is what the Philly fans love about Jalen Hurts. He's the direct opposite of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott makes $60 million. He's got 41,000 passing yards. He does all the personal accolades. He's overachieved as a 5th-round pick. He's done everything personally to check every box. When Dak sits on his couch at night, he thinks about the success he's had as a man, and he's happy. And he should be. He should be proud of that. Fans don't view it like that. Fans view a team. Jaylen sits on his couch and gets 2,900 yards and has to hear Big Sills all year long say, you're stiff. But he got the hardware. He showed up when the team needed him to show up in the 2 biggest games of the year. Dak is yet to do that.
maybe my perspective is a little different because I look at it through the player's eyes, and I make a statement all the time, and
I hear
people
you.
don't see it. You're not paid on wins. You're not paid on.
I know, but you're judged.
You are
You're
paid
judged.
on your own individual abilities.
I
Take a
agree
look
with
at the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today have not won a Super Bowl. None of them. And the ones that have won are outside of the top 10. Why is that? Because you're paid on what you might think that player can bring you and his current ability on who he is right now. And that's kind of how I see it.
But
I
do you think that's more
an
important?
individual player because that's all you can control, really, is your own personal play.
But do you think? But again, do you think the audience right now that's listening views it through that lens?
No
now, you were a player. You made it to the NFL. You view things in that way, and I can understand that perspective of what you're saying. Dak was a 5th-round pick. He's making $60 million a year. He's got 40,000 passing yards. Sorry, bro, but that's overachieving. You're right. But I would rather have Jaylen throw for 2,000 yards every year and us be where we are every year than have 50,000 passing yards, and as a 2nd-round pick, you overachieve and you make all the money in the world, but we don't have anything to show for it. Now, maybe that's the fan in me. Maybe that's because I care about the Eagles a lot more than I care about any individual player, any individual accolade. You're right from that perspective, but what has Dak done in the big moments, man?
No, listen, there's no question. I mean, when you look at Kirk Cousins and you see him, like I just brought it up prior to bringing you on, McNabb's been more successful in his career than what Dak Prescott has been. It's been 10 years of almost.
Right.
Or you're not, or get this, dude.
Barely even almost.
Correct.
Man, he's not
McNabb was almost.
I mean, Jayden Daniels has done more in 1 year than Dak has done in 10. And this is where I push back a little bit on you. And I hear what you're saying, by the way, about Dak as a personal, he's achieved a lot. You're right about that. He's achieved a lot by any metric of any human out there. But Jayden Daniels, do you think that team that Jayden Daniels took to the NFC Championship game last year, by the way, he didn't have a cakewalk to get there. He had to go through one of the best teams in football in the Detroit Lions in Detroit to do that. Do you think that team last year was worse than or was better than any of those Cowboys teams that Dak took to the playoffs?
No, I do not.
Dude, those were good teams, man.
They were.
You can't show up to that game, throw 2 picks, lose the game because you couldn't get it together as the quarterback, and then expect, Philly's not going to make fun of you, or the Cowboys fans aren't going to expect more just because you threw 40,000 passing yards in your career, right? You got to be more than that. And that's where I think for all the criticism that you give Jalen Hurts, man, he answers those questions. Commanders game comes up. Super Bowl comes up. The dude makes plays. He shows up in the biggest moments. At the end of the day, I'll take that over any of those other accolades. And hey, maybe that is the fan speaking, but that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Do you agree with me? Last one here. Do you agree with me here that I think it's tougher to be a head football coach in Philadelphia than it is in Dallas? And here's why. When Jerry makes a decision on a head coach, Jerry's not going to bend to the fans. And there's going to be none of that. When you're the head coach in Philly, bro, let me ask you this. If Nick Serriani, with this new contract extension, he starts skidding around a little bit, how many weeks do you think you give him before you start taking a shit on him? 1?
Who? With Nick?
2? Nick. I mean,
I think he's bought himself a little time with the Super Bowl now. I mean, a little bit, maybe not too much, but I do think
you gave Doug a year, right?
I do think your sentiment is correct. Do you remember how long Jason Garrett went in Dallas? And he wasn't a bad coach, but he never won. The question was there every year. When are they going to get rid of this guy? They never got rid of him. He is kind of loyal in that way where he wants to be right so bad. Jeffrey Lurie. Now, Jeffrey's changed a lot in this regard. I think, again, I bring this up a lot, and I believe this. I think Jeffrey Lurie was broken by Chip Kelly, and I don't blame him at all for it. All right. But I would bet if you talk to Jeffrey Lurie off the record, he would admit, at least to some level, that Chip Kelly changed the entire way he runs his organization. Think about how long he kept Andy around.
I agree.
Without success.
The owner's impulsive.
He's become more impulsive, yes. I think last year, the fact that they were thinking about considering Sirianni after the collapse was stupid. I mean, come on. The guy went to a Super Bowl the year prior in his second year as a head coach. I wouldn't have fired him. And they were thinking about it. You know,
You know why I wouldn't have fired him? Because that decision could not have been his to demote Sean Desai. There's no way that a guy makes an indecision move like that when you're 10-1. You blow your season up. If that's your sole position, I'm firing you solely on that.
right.
Okay, so that's why I think when we talk about navigating, that's where I'm going with this.
I can see that. Yeah.
Let's get to the supers here.
And here's this dumbass. I would have fired his ass. And that's why your ass is never going to be in a leadership position or managing a football organization. I mean, come on with that comment. Leon Bang says, if you put Dak on Commanders, they don't go to NFC title. No, they do not. Agreed. 100%, Leon. 100%. I'm sorry. Listen, I have been a much more unbiased Dak Prescott commenter than the majority of Philadelphians. I think he's a great quarterback. I think Dallas is a better team than Philadelphia gives credit for. He does not show up in the big games. How many times do I have to watch it until I believe my own damn eyes? Until he proves me the other way, I can't say he's going to be big in a playoff moment. I cannot. I'm sorry. I don't think that's unfair either.
Do you agree that one of the things, too, that was proven this last year is that I wonder if it's an organization. We'll get Mark Holmes on with Philly 500 here. Don't you think when the Philadelphia Eagles made that adjustment at the break, I don't think they make that adjustment in Dallas. You know why? Jones wants footballs thrown in the air. Jones wants wide receivers in big numbers because it's all about the show.
Yeah, but that's the best way to win with that.
But in Philly, Kellen Moore's never been on. Name me a place where Kellen Moore was ever in a position to coach an RPO guy. And on top of that, a run-dominated offense. He's never been. He's always been with a guy who throws the football 550 times a year. So when they moved and they went to running the ball and the quarterback was throwing it 20 times a game, I don't believe that they make that move in Dallas. If they had Saquon, which they should have, either him or Henry, which was a colossal disaster, I don't think that they would have made that move to go, and they would have tried to jam that round peg in a square hole. That's the difference. Kellen, right. I think it's organizational issues in Dallas.
Maybe. I think
Dak doesn't win is my point.
I think there's some there. But again, Jerry Jones isn't throwing picks in the playoffs. Leon Banks says Romo had T.O. and an elite D. No excuses for him. It's true.
Once again, Tony Romo was a UDFA. And my question as a player is this. Do you know how many undrafted free agents go on to become the leader in a statistic where you are the all-time leading passer in Dallas Cowboy history, and somebody would tell me he underachieved? You were never drafted to do anything. You were drafted to get coffee. You were not drafted. Nobody ever thought that guy would ever be anything. And that guy, when you say, okay, Sills, he didn't really, outside of the Green Bay game where it was a catch or it wasn't a catch, that was probably the moment that could have put that team in the NFC title game. I get that. But as a player, Tony Romo, what people thought of him, dude, this guy wasn't even a draft pick.
Yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying with that. I'd be curious to hear what Mark thinks because he did overachieve for an undrafted guy, but I'm sure the people in Dallas wanted some hardware. Sandman says Sileo has Eagle derangement syndrome. EDS is the new TDS.
How could I have deranged syndrome when you paid your coach just above minimum wage, according to Howard Eskin? You gave him $10 million. Shit, that guy Schottenheimer got $13 million. He hasn't proven shit.
We'll figure out one day. Kokorski says Cowboys are professional choke artists, and Kurt Warner achieved more than Romo. He did. He definitely achieved a lot more than Romo.
Not only was he not drafted, but he was cut 5 times.
Yeah. Kurt Warner's story is awesome.
Kurt Warner's story is ridiculous.
Master Eagle with 5, no comment. Thank you, Master Eagle. I'm not sure if you meant to put a comment, but appreciate the super chat. Sig Lord, member for 6 months. Still seeing Sirianni's salary as like a wet dream for a teenager.
Oh, yeah. North of $10 million. Dude, the guy Kirk Ferentz, who coaches the Iowa Hawkeyes, makes more money than Nick Sirianni, your Super Bowl winning coach. How you
Christopher,
doing?
here you go. Here you go. Christopher's on your side. He says they got to save the money for the real coaches in Howie. Nick has his spot as a cheerleader motivator. I wouldn't pay him more than 15, not a penny more. Christopher, take a seat in the cut corner. I'll tell you when you can get out.
Hey.
You're in timeout, Christopher.
North of $10 million. 10 coaches in the
shine.
Big Ten make more
Here we go.
money
We got a
than
couple
Nick
more.
Sirianni.
We'll get to the Battle Royale. Sean says, Nick yelling at us fans in the stands is the Philly way, Sills. We're unpredictable.
Yeah, that's it. He looks, yeah, when I see Philadelphia, funny, I don't see Nick Sirianni as the guy that represents Philly. I actually like a tough guy. Like, who represents Philly more, Big Dom or Nick?
Big Dom. Are you kidding me? Big Dom, baby. I love Big Dom.
Holy
I met
cow.
Big Dom.
Hey,
He's
Nick,
cool
go
dude.
get me a cup of coffee and park my car.
Devin Shanahan says, will they still attempt to nerf the tush push? I could see them calling the whistle sooner and saying the play is dead earlier than prior years.
That's a great take. That get this, the referees may manage that tush push more. You know what I'm saying, Xander? Instead of banning it, the refs are not going to let that play evolve like they do, where they have quicker whistles with that, right? That could be something that they do.
Last one here. One more for Twiz, and I see Mark in the green room. Garbage time Dak. F them stats. He chokes in the playoffs. Yes, he does.
Yeah. Again, organizations let quarterbacks down. Remember that. Do you think if Dak went to the Steelers
you're
or anyone?
like a Cowboy apologist today. Dude, they got to win the big game, man. All right?
No. You guys are under the assumption that, like, if Jalen Hurts was on some sort, if Jalen Hurts could go to any team and he'd win a Super Bowl, that's not the case. That's not the case. Not with his 18 touchdowns and his Army midshipman numbers. He ain't winning shit.
And enjoy your high flying passing numbers, and you're gonna have a big shelf on your wall that has zero hardware on it. Jalen Hurts is racking up hardware. Yeah. All right.
I get it.
Xander, great stuff.
Hey, you make sure you tell Big John, Big Sills is right on Nick Sirianni's contract.
Nick Winiani. It's Winiani.
I knew that they weren't going to pay that guy the money.
It's Nick Winiani.
Hey, tell that cheerleader when you're an elite guy, they pay you elite. Right, way to go, Howard Eskin. All right,
I'm out of here.
Big C, we'll see you tomorrow. Keep up the great work, brother. So before I bring my next gentleman in for the Battle Royale, I got to say this. By the way, I want to prepare Mark for this. It's 10 years going into this year, Dak Prescott. This will be his 10th season. Okay? And I want to read Philly 500 this before I bring him up. This is from Howard Eskin. And I'll show you what they think of Nick Sirianni. And, of course, Howard was a sideline guy forever, and he's so plugged in. We're going to get him on. I've already texted him. Nick Sirianni just got off the phone and just got off of signing a multi-year contract with the Eagles at what I'm told is nicely above 10 million, which is basically minimum wage for an NFL head coach. The guy in Jacksonville got 12. And so, I mean, if it was close to Andy, he would have said just shy of Andy's 20. But it's not the money that drives Serriani. He's a terrific coach. He gets his players to play at their peak. The coach is driven by hard work and dealing with adversity. Basically, what I'm telling you is that the organization sees Nick for his role. They're not paying him $7. If you have a 700 win percentage, you pay him $21 million. You don't pay him $14 million. You pay him $21 million. Okay? I mean, this guy he's not making more than Jim Harbaugh. This guy is not making, the guy at Georgia, the Bulldogs, is making more money. Get the Dallas Cowboy head coach is making $12.5. Nick Sirianni. They put him right there south of the top 5. Without further ado, this is going to be a great battle royale. I'm sorry I had to steal something from Philly 500. Packers are 0-3. Yeah, that's a great take. Let's bring our boys in. The great Mark Holmes and the champ, Philly 500. How you doing, champ?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. Looking good. I'm good. How are you?
All good here. So let me start with you, Philly.
Oh,
According to Howard Eskin, Howard's saying that just a little bit north of 10 million. Nick Sirianni, the highest paid coaches are 20, 18, 16, 16, 16. And Howard said he's handsomely above. And from what I'm being told, it's 14-5. What's your takeaway on that he's not in the top 6 highest paid coaches with a 700 win percentage?
I call bullcrap.
You think Howard's lying?
I think he's wrong. I think what's what does he mean north of 10 million? $20 million is north of 10 million. $30 million is north of 10 million. Well, so
that's a pretty big reach. That's a pretty big reach.
Saying.
Don't you think he would have said just shy of 20?
It is Howard Eskin. I don't know. I don't know. To me, let's see what the numbers are. Now, for argument's sake, let's say that you're right. What does that mean? That means the Eagles got a good deal. Maybe the coach wanted to stay in Philly. I mean, I don't know.
I do think the years matter, Philly.
Fine.
Philly, I think if you gave a guy 4 years, I think that matters, right?
Yeah, sure.
Let me go over to you, Mark.
Oh, me? Oh, I was hoping you guys were just going to fight this week again.
No. There ain't no fight. This is what we call
I was enjoying that because
only Cowboy fans fight. Okay, Cowboy fans fight. We have debates here because this is what we do. So I got a question for you. Dak Prescott's entering his 10th year.
Mm-hmm.
In your eyes, Dak Prescott, has he overachieved or underachieved?
I was sitting there listening to Xander. Xander sounded like a Cowboy fan, passionate right there, talking about Dak Prescott and basically saying that he's a choker. But you pointed out something about Tony Romo. Tony Romo, undrafted rookie free agent, sat on the bench for a couple of years. Sean Payton liked him. And when you look at him, you can say, well, he didn't win the big one, but he wasn't really expected to be. There were everybody that passed him up. You can say the same thing about Dak Prescott being a 4th-round pick, that he's actually overachieved for what he's done. Now, am I satisfied that we don't have an NFC championship or a Super Bowl ring? I am not. I am not at all. But I look at it and say, I think you're right about the organizational issues with the Cowboys. When you look at it and say, Eagle fans, y'all all think, Jaylen Hurts, he'll win a Super Bowl anywhere. I don't think so. If he doesn't have the supporting cast around him like he has, where he only has to throw 18 TDs, that's Troy Aikman-esh. Troy Aikman had 1 year that he threw over 20 TDs. Why? Because he had Emmitt Smith. He had a great wall of Dallas. He had a great defense. I don't know that Troy Aikman wins 3 Super Bowls if he's on a team that doesn't have all that. And I think that's the same thing you have to look at with Jalen Hurts. No disrespect. You've got to have a quarterback who can play in the moments, but they're not asking him to do every single thing. The Cowboys, it's like, well, we're going to do more with less. We literally say we're going to do more with less. You cannot win the Super Bowl winning with less.
I'm gonna make a point here to both of you here. Winning a Super Bowl MVP, there's 20 guys who have won Super Bowl MVPs that have no shot at making it to the Hall of Fame. But do you know that 98% of the people that have won the MVP award for the regular season are in Canton? I made a comment yesterday. Do you think it's tougher to win an MVP award playing consistent for 6 months? Or do you think it's more impressive for a quarterback to play 60 minutes? I think what Josh Allen did, I think winning a regular season MVP is more difficult than winning a Super Bowl MVP. I've seen guys play for 60 minutes in their life. I've seen Dexter Jackson have a great Super Bowl and never heard of him again. I mean, you think Nick Foles is going to Canton? He had a great Super Bowl. Other than that, that guy's had a way mediocre NFL career. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, look, Super Bowls. Do you know that every quarterback that's the highest paid quarterback, the top 10 guys, not one of them have won a Super Bowl? Players aren't paid on Super Bowl wins. They're paid on ability. And facts are that's not an opinion. Look at the numbers on how people get paid. So again, Philly, I mean, I want to get your take on Dak.
I want to know Mark's what his answer was though. What
do you
was
think
it?
he
overachieved
Mark?
or underachieved? I didn't get a clear answer.
How many teams passed on him? And the Cowboys literally didn't want Dak. They wanted Paxton Lynch. And then they tried to go ahead and get Connor Cook. It was kind of like, we'll just get Dak. And it wasn't like they drafted him and thought that he was going to be. He was the fourth string quarterback.
So
Dak one rep in OTAs a game. It ended up being Kellen Moore broke his ankle. Jamil Showers, they found out, well, let's make him a cornerback. And it was like, well, he's the next guy here. That's all we got. And it ended up being that he actually took it and actually played.
Well, wait, Mark, to Philly's point here, okay, the Patriots also passed on Brady 5 times. So let me ask you again, do you believe that Dak Prescott has a starting quarterback? He's entering his 10th. This is 10 football seasons.
10 years. Yeah.
10 years he's entering.
Are we going to compare what the New England Patriots do to what the
No, I'm asking what you as a Cowboy fan are looking at. Do you think he's over or underachieved heading into his
actually overachieved for a 4th round draft pick?
There you go.
Against the Cowboys organization that hasn't done dick in 30 years. If the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls on a regular and then they got Dak Prescott and then all of a sudden we just couldn't do shit, then I'd say, yeah, it's Dak Prescott. But we're still doing the same stuff that we've been doing for the last 30 years. If anything, you actually have to look at it and say they had 3 years in a row that they were 12-5 and made the playoffs. They didn't do that at any other point in the last 30 years.
What do you make of that? Your take?
He's underachieved. He's underachieved. Listen, when he comes out as a rookie early in his career, he was overachieving to get into the starting role, become a starter. But when you get the big straddle, when you get paid the way he gets paid, at that point, everything changes. You're no longer a 4th round pick. You're a franchise quarterback. And he did not live up to it. He has not lived up to it. And you are right. It is very hard to be an MVP, to go out in the league and win an MVP every year. I don't disagree with you there. I don't disagree with you.
I can give you actually a better example here.
Because, you know what, though? Wait a minute, Mark. I think what Philly said there just changed my mind. I think that people get under and overdrafted all the time. Do we not agree? Like if Jalen Hurts were to go right now, Jalen would be a 1st round pick. So he was underdrafted. He's right. When that bag of money hits the table, doesn't all that shit go away?
All goes away.
All of a sudden now because the expectation, when you gave him that $50 million deal, right? Didn't or $45 million deal annually? Didn't that change that 4th round? That's no longer a 4th round guy because the expectations every year that Dak has been paid big money at one time or another. This is the 2nd time he's been the highest paid quarterback in the league.
No, he wasn't the first time.
That 45 million.
No.
He was
one of them.
40 million.
One of them. He was one of them.
The 60 he still is. And if you're a quarterback right now, you're saying, keep me under the 60 because I don't want to have that heat. That's why everybody is.
But you'll be there for a while. Philly said, listen, Philly's right. When that bag of money hits the table, dude, like it does for Hurts, that shit's changed that 2nd round.
I hear you, but let me give you 2 examples.
He will not hold Dak Prescott accountable.
No,
this is what this guy does all the time for 10 years.
Take Russell Wilson when he won the Super Bowl. Do you think that he was a great quarterback when they won the Super Bowl with Marshawn Lynch and that #1 defense? He actually got better. He ended up throwing 40+ TDs on a regular and was basically done in the playoffs. Now, are we saying that he got to be a worse quarterback as he got older because he wasn't winning Super Bowls anymore?
Roster
Or was it
got
the
worse.
team? Or was it the team
Yeah,
not
but
the
he-
same and not having the running
but he-
game?
but he
Hold on.
proved
Let me finish. Let me finish now. And you can look at Tom Brady. When Tom Brady first started winning Super Bowls, that defense was elite. Now, as he got older, his numbers got to be better and better and better, and it ended up being they were winning because of Tom Brady. Or if you take an Aaron Rodgers, when he won a Super Bowl, they had the number 3 defense, and he had 4 great wide receivers that were there. But yet he got to be a better and better quarterback, winning MVPs, but they weren't winning anything else. So are we saying that Aaron Rodgers was a loser because he wasn't winning Super Bowls later? Or are we saying that he didn't have the same team that he had winning the first ones?
I think
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers underachieved. Go ahead, Philly.
He did no, he underachieved, but you're talking about two different things. You're talking about guys that actually showed that they could go into a playoff game, win a playoff game, go to an NFC championship game, win an NFC championship game, then win a Super Bowl. Then you want to hold Dak Prescott up to those guys' levels. You can't, because he's never done it once.
Did you see
He's
that
never done it
Super Bowl
once.
with the Colts?
Never done it
And how
once.
quickly that defense literally destroyed Peyton Manning in Denver? Did they win that Super Bowl because of
When Manning lost with Denver when he couldn't throw anymore at the end of his career?
I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks going through and literally bludgeoning them.
Yeah, but
And that was in the
Peyton
season.
Manning, I will argue, one, Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
2, Peyton Manning also underachieved in the playoffs. If you look at Peyton Manning, he was an underachiever in the playoffs.
Right.
He was a great regular season, probably the
I'll
best
give you the win.
regular
Dak
season quarterback
Prescott
ever.
is a choke
Wait,
artist.
wait.
Dak
No,
Prescott underachieved.
no.
He can't deal with it.
Listen,
Bills.
wait a
He
minute.
can't
Wait a
deal
minute.
with that Dak Prescott.
Let me ask you
can't
something here.
It don't compute.
Mark, Peyton Manning's record is 14-13 in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like this guy. I mean, and there's been very few guys that have great records in the postseason. I'm not dismissing, everyone's under the assumption. You know how many quarterbacks in the NFC currently right now have a winning record that are active right now? There's one. It's Hurts. The rest of them are all under 500. Every guy. Russell Wilson's 9-8 in the playoffs. Okay? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 12-11. I mean, everyone's under the assumption that you have a great records. Troy Aikman has a great record, obviously, but for me, again, I think people get blinded by, when I look at Dak, I look at him and I say, this guy as a player, maybe this is my wrong here, Philly. I look at a guy who was not supposed to be a starter. But Philly's right. When that bag of money hits the table, there's an expectation that all of a sudden that draft shit goes away. That making $60 million. He's no longer a 4th-round pick. That guy is the highest paid guy. Bro, you got to deliver. This is year 10. Don't you think he's underachieved in that role as the Dallas Cowboy starting quarterback? Because, again, if you're paying him.
I hear what you're saying. But when I look at the shit that we did, for example, last year, when I look at the Cowboys that aren't Howie Roseman-esque, that say, hey, let's go get the best running back. And I have a bunch of guys that go get a spent Zeke and Dalvin freaking Cook. Okay? When you guys say, you know what? Let's go ahead. We're not sure if our quarterback's good, but we're going to find out by going out and getting A.J. Brown. Now, I'm going to say this year, going out and getting George Pickens, that's a major move. He's got 2 weapons. I'm going to say you don't have excuses this year that you don't have players there. Would I like to have a better running back? Yeah, I'd probably like to have somebody a little younger than Sanders. And I would love to have had Derrick Henry last year. But you can't compare a team that's literally saying we're going to go only as far as Dak Prescott can take us, and literally put nothing out there.
Mark, this guy's laughing at you.
It's not the first time, and it won't be the last.
It's so ridiculous at this point. You can talk all the common sense you want.
Okay, hold on.
He cannot do it. He cannot say it.
Philly.
He cannot say it.
Philly.
What?
If you still had Rhaegar as your wide receiver as opposed to A.J. Brown, and you still had Miles Sanders, are you winning the freaking Super Bowl?
Well, I can tell you this. If my quarterback's in a position to win the game, he's going to win the game. I'll tell you that. But see, this is what this is what he's doing. He's talking Jalen Reagor, right? And he didn't have Jalen Reagor. He had Amari Cooper. He had CeeDee Lamb. He had the year he threw 37 touchdowns.
And got
Come on, you blame everybody else.
Oh my God.
Everybody.
Bro.
Look, Donovan McNabb could not win the big game. And I'm a Donovan McNabb fan, and I can say it.
Okay. All right.
Donovan McNabb choked. He was a choker. I love him, but he was a choker.
How about this?
This guy can't admit it.
Philly, the tush push.
Yeah, baby.
It's back another year. Every single team in the NFC East.
Yeah, no hope for the
Get
Cowboys.
rid of that shit.
Okay.
2 votes short.
The Cowboys wanted it banned. The Commanders wanted it banned. And the New York Giants wanted it banned. How do you feel about it living on for another year?
I love it. I love it. It's great. Great news. They should pay. Green Bay should pay. Buffalo should pay. Dallas should pay. They all need to pay. And let me tell you, I don't want to see Buffalo use it. Don't go out there, their head coach talking about, well, players are getting injured and stuff like that. And I don't want to put my players in that position. Don't use it then. Don't use it at all. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Green Bay use it. I don't want to see Buffalo use it. And I want to destroy those teams. I hate them teams.
How about this, Mark, for you? Do you think it's a football play? And do you think, hey, a lot of people think the play should be banned because it's not a football play. Even the commissioner, by the way, the commissioner hates the play. How do you feel about the tush push?
You know what? I feel I hate to say this, but I'm actually on your guys' side because just because y'all came up with something that other people can't stop, it's up for everybody else to stop it. Now, on the flip side of this, though, if we're talking about being able to push people on one side of the ball, you should be able to push on the other side, because years ago, it used to be, and I can't remember which team it was, but they would push a guy in the gap to block the extra points. But they said you cannot push another player.
That's a leverage play, right?
Right. It's a leverage. So if you're going to say it's okay to push in the tush, then let them push as far as the leverage goes. Fair is fair.
All right. I got a question for both of you here. So what are you planning, both of you, for the opener on September 4th when it comes to Dallas? Hey, and by the way, let me start with you, Mark. Can you imagine you roll in maybe a 7-point underdog heading into that?
There, 7 point. The over and under is 46.5. I'm looking at
7-point underdog, and you pull off the upset.
I've seen it
before. Look at Philly almost just swallowed his agita there. Hey, you tell me, how are you feeling about that game heading into that opener? Do you feel you have a shot to win that thing?
Well, my team got nothing to lose. Nobody expects us to do anything. Nothing. And my team actually can sit here and listen to them being shit on and hopefully taking it and turning it into something. You go in there playing loose. We got nothing to lose, man. But if you're the Eagles, hold on. If you're the Eagles and you lose that one, and then you look at the next couple of games after that, they're saying, oh, the Eagles could start off 1-3. How about they start off 0-4?
Philly, he's saying there's a shot you can start because you got Rams and
I got one thing planned for that game. One thing. Pain. In the words of Mr. T, pain. That's right. We're going to put that banner up, and the Cowboys are going to feel a lot of pain. All right. And listen, he can downplay. Oh, we'd have nothing to play for. Your quarterback's playing for his legacy. He's 10 years in this league. He's done nothing. And you're going to tell me he can just go stroll in there and it's okay to just get your ass kicked? Nobody expects anything. That's why the Cowboys lose, because their fans don't expect anything really. Their ownership doesn't expect anything really. They don't hold their own players accountable. They can't even be honest about their own quarterbacks. It's different. This is why we win.
So are you guaranteeing?
That's the way it is.
Are you guaranteeing that you're winning
You're
that game?
You're not getting me in the game. I ain't playing the game, so I'm not guaranteeing. I only guarantee stuff that I can control. I'm not guaranteeing anything.
Hold it. You're talking a whole lot of shit. Why don't you back it up?
Are you guaranteeing Dak Prescott will win a Super Bowl?
The Cowboys could actually win that game, because you're not man enough to say my team will win that game.
Wait. Man enough.
That's it. I'm questioning your man
just sat there deflecting Dak Prescott.
Listen. We know the Cowboys are the losers.
20 minutes.
The greatest team of all time.
You're talking about manning up. You can't even man up and speak the truth about that.
Bro.
You're gonna call me
you
out.
Are Super Bowl champions. Super Bowl champions playing at home.
That's wrong.
Revealing your banner, and you're telling me that you will not guarantee that your team will kick a broken dog team like the Dallas Cowboys?
Trying to bait me into a guarantee.
Prescott,
I wasn't born yesterday.
I
wasn't born yesterday. You ain't baiting.
It was last night.
This is for you here, Mark. I don't want to hear any more excuses when you acknowledge you have 2 number 1 receivers, a 1 and a 2. You can't hype up their offense and then make excuses later on. All on Dak now. Do you agree with this?
It's in there. Yes. Right now, having 2 number 1s, if the Cowboys make a couple more moves, then there's no excuses. Although,
how do you feel about what's that?
Let's hear the although.
No,
said although. Let's hear the although. I want to hear the although.
No, here's the thing. You've got a brand new coach, first year, whole new coaching staff, and you're now bringing in all of these players. It's going to take some time to figure out what we're doing and get to know everybody. There is a learning curve. Now, I will say, I look at this and I say the Cowboys are actually very fortunate the way this whole thing sets up. I think the best thing that actually happens to them is that the Eagles are early. The reason I say that is nobody knows exactly what the Cowboys may be doing. We're going to be new, okay? We'll be healthy. We know basically what the Eagles are and what they're going to do. You're going to be facing a team that's got nothing to lose. You just are.
What do you make of
the Cowboys haven't beaten you guys before?
What do you make of this? And I'll get Philly's take on this. So Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb talking shit on Quinyon Mitchell. Guantanamo Bay, they started laughing, and I don't know. There's a part of me that likes it because it's bravado and it leads to the rivalry. There's a part of me that says, well, September 4th, man, you better show your ass up. You're talking shit on Quinyon Mitchell. Is that a good thing or bad thing heading into this game?
If you're going to talk the talk,
okay,
walk the walk, as Jimmy Johnson would say. So you better back it up. Tyler Booker, you wanted Jaylen Carter? You got him week 1. You better do something with it. You done put your ass out there and said some shit. You done a CD? Well, actually, it wasn't CD. Micah Parsons put CD out there on blast. Hey, you got to go out there and do it. So don't start writing checks and letting those mother humpers bounce. Me, I'm not usually one that likes to talk a whole lot of stuff. I let my play on the field do it for me. But we've heard this thing about Dallas Cowboys are soft, that they got a culture issue. Well, you know what? Bring back some of that Jimmy Johnson-esque bravado.
What do you make of that, Philly? Philly, that kind of adds to the rivalry a little. The Cowboys it was a horrible year for them last year. Now they go into this game. Believe it or not, the Cowboys go into this game, I think, with a identity crisis here. They got to figure out who they are. The Eagles know who they are, so they're trying to build something up here. Now, look, do I think that's smart going in and Are you prepared to fight like that in that game on the 4th? Do you
better
like
be.
it or do you not like it? Because I think it adds a little bit to it. But if they're not ready, man, that Eagle team could beat that Cowboy team if they're not ready by 20.
I love it. Are you kidding? I love that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it gets me fired up. I'm talking about the one catch he had for 5 yards versus Quintanamo Bay last year. So I love this stuff.
Only
I
had 40
overall
yards,
like
45 yards passing in the whole game, bro.
that's
45 yards the whole game.
That's Jerry Jones. What are you gonna do?
Oh,
The Dallas
that's
Cowboys.
super
They
freaking rush, bro.
didn't put a quarterback. They didn't do this. They didn't do that.
Okay.
He
All
stink.
right.
He stink.
So
Right,
let
because
me make
Dak
sure I get
wasn't there, right? The
Philly-
great Dak
so
wasn't
Philly
there.
again,
But now that the great
Cowboys
Dak
are going
is
to
there,
be beat
he's
by
going to get
20
400
points is what you're saying, right?
yards.
That they've got no chance because they're choking dogs and they suck.
You
Now,
said
this
it.
is regular
I'm saying
season.
we're going to
Philly,
win.
this is regular season.
Right,
He is
yeah.
pretty
Dak,
good.
Dak does put up numbers in the regular season and chokes and disappears when the playoffs come. That's for sure. Will we
All right,
see that again? I don't know.
I got a question for you, Philly. Couple last ones here for you guys. Who is the one player, in your opinion, you can't lose this coming season? Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley?
I think that if you lose Saquon, I think you got problems. He's so good. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I think he's going for 2K again. I think it's going to be the first player in NFL history to do it. I just got this feeling. So I would say probably Saquon.
You're going to give that guy 400 more carries?
I don't think you should, but I think they're going to. I think that it's going to happen. I think he's getting at least 300 carries this year.
That would be the only.
I know. I think we're in a weird. I think it's a weird window. I'm just telling you. I just got a gut feeling, man. He's going for 2K again. I got a weird feeling about it.
Mark, what do you think? The Eagles, Saquon Barkley or Hurts?
Saquon, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Why?
That running game set up everything else. See, people don't seem to understand the difference, okay? A couple of years ago, everybody was going back through, you don't pay running backs and everything else. You've actually seen the reinvention of running backs and running games. Balanced offense matters, okay? It does. You can say it doesn't all you want, but when a team has to worry about that running back going all the way, like Saquon, and you have to put 8 men in the box, it takes so much pressure off your quarterback. Now, I'm not wishing Saquon gets injured, but I'd like to see the Eagles have to win or lose with just Jalen Hurts' arm.
You mean like the Super Bowl?
Here.
They put 8 men in the box because they were going to make sure that Saquon didn't stop them.
And you know what? The truth is, you know what? I'm going to say this also. The Eagles got one of the best lines I've seen since the 90s Cowboys.
Too.
They have also, no matter who's been their running back, been able to run the ball. So
yes,
so maybe, just maybe it's Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying, the Eagles will run the ball on you no matter who it is. Now, when you put a great dynamic running back like Barkley, then you get 2,000 yards. But just because if Barkley's not in there, something happens, the Eagles are very capable of still being a very effective offense, and you're still going to have to put 8 men in a box regardless, because that team can run the ball on anybody with pretty much any running back.
How about this? What you're suggesting is that over 2 years they're going to give that guy 720 carries.
That's a lot of carries.
For
I know it's a lot. I know
for a 28-year-old back.
I know it's a lot, but I'm just telling you what I got a gut feeling. Dude's going for 2K again. I don't know why.
Do you
I
feel
would think it would come down.
Philly? Do you feel pretty? Do you feel pretty good about that because of the O-line, and that the O-line can because again, one thing, Mark, I'll tell you, we had Brian Westbrook on our program a couple months ago. You know what he said? He's like this: Barkley's not getting hit by D tackles,
He doesn't get hit 3,
linebackers.
4 years.
He's
yards
getting
down
hit
the
by
field.
safeties because
Right.
those guys are blowing such big holes. Remember when Dak was doing exceptionally well and the offensive line was blowing up guys? He
Yep.
was second and third level back there running over running backs and such, right? I mean, DBs and safeties. That's kind of what is that not kind of what you're thinking there, Philly? Is that,
Yeah,
that
kind
whole
of.
line is really going to give him the ability
Right.
to
Well, yeah, that's my point, is that they're going to take advantage of that O-line. I think you gave them all that money. I think over the next 2 years, I think Barkley's in the prime of his life. I think this is his best years. And I don't know, man. I just got a feeling like they're willing to do it again if they have to. They may go into the season not wanting to do it, but when he starts running the ball, breaking 50-yard runs, it's pretty hard not to keep giving him the ball.
All right, Mark, finally here. Mark, are you feeling a little better about like your off season now? Are you feeling better about the upcoming season? Do you see 10 wins plus? Depending again, and I say this to you, Mark, in all seriousness, the war of attrition, you have to have the Eagles had a great 53-man roster, not just the front 22. They had guys like Burks and Isaiah Rodgers and guys that could step in, and there were no drop-off. How are you feeling about this roster? Because right now, the things you do now, the payoffs in September and October, have you done enough in your opinion right now? Do you think there's another move? How are you feeling right now with the moves that they've made or maybe not made? And continuing with the talent that they had on the roster, just getting healthy. How do you feel?
I feel much better this year than I did last year. The thing that I like at least about the Cowboys is we were going into training camp where we only had some positions, 2 guys, where we didn't actually have a full roster of players. And they're literally looking for players in training camp, after training camp, and the waiver wires to try and fill out the roster. The Cowboys have actually worked in getting better depth than what they've had. You're not going to necessarily see the big name free agents, but collectively they've got players that have experience that will be good. When they go out and get a George Pickens at this point, who's now actually has OTAs, mini camp, and training camp, it's going to be huge for the team getting those guys in here and literally having those guys working right now. They've got over a 92% players showing up, veterans showing up for their OTAs, and that's huge. Micah Parsons the last 2 years did not show up for OTAs. Did not. He's there every single day. Now he's in the middle of a contract dispute and all that, but you're getting some really good energy with this team, and I think you're going to be better than what people think. I don't know how good they'll be because it's still everybody's new, coaching staff and players and all that, but I definitely say they'll be better than they were last year.
Philly, you had a lot of changes. And again, it's hard to maintain. I don't care what anybody says. I think this, Philly, it's harder to stay on top of the mountain than it is actually to climb to the top of the mountain when you're talking about being a championship football team. It's hard to stay up there and be competitive each and every single year. Now, do you believe that this organization has taken a step lateral? Do you think they've taken a step back with the uncertainty of the players that have to fill in? How are you feeling right now? And like I always tell people, where have the Eagles gotten better? It's hard to get better from almost perfection on what you did in the NFC title game and Super Bowl. So it's a kind of a loaded question. How do you feel where you are right now with the question marks here on May 21st?
I feel great. I feel great. And here's the thing. You've had some losses with Sweat and Milt Williams. I like some of these young guys, and I like that I think they got the talent to replace them eventually. Maybe it'll start off slow, maybe it'll take a little while, but I think by the end of the year, by the time we get to playoffs, I think guys like Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith, I think they're going to be rocking and rolling. But here's the thing. I think Howie Roseman's 2 years ahead of the league. All right. If you look at the league, you look at the Eagles' schedule, you tell me Look at all those teams and those teams' ability to stop the run. This league is not built to stop the run. The Eagles have been very smart. They've built a team that is going to basically wear you down by the fourth quarter. And most of these teams can't stop the run. I think the Eagles are playing different chess to everybody else's checkers. And it's going to take the league a whole nother year. Then everybody's going to want to go out and get a running back like the Eagles. They're going to worry about stopping the run. But I think that these teams, like, you can look at the schedule. The teams we're playing, they can't stop the run. Problem with Dallas, you can't win. If you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, you can't win. And I don't think many of these teams can stop the Eagles and what they're going to do. That means, to me, the Eagles are going to be pretty much winning every game by the fourth quarter. I expect most of the time teams to be worn down. And any deficiencies that we have on defense that, we might have lost, I think will be made up and hidden because of that. So I feel pretty good.
You want to, hey, Mark, you want to hear something crazy on what he said? I looked at this the other day on the air, that the majority of the teams that the Eagles have on their schedule this year, 11 of those teams are ranked in the 20s, 18, 16, 21, 29, like 14, and stopping the run. He's right with this. This league is set up because why? They're paying receivers and they're paying quarterbacks, right? And they're paying corners. I mean, look at every team in the league. I don't think there's any coincidence that the really good football teams have great linebacker play. Yeah. I think the Eagles won the Super Bowl because of the linebacker play they had a year ago.
Yeah.
I think, look at Detroit. They got good linebacker play. Look at what Baltimore, they got good linebacker play. Even Kansas City. If you can't cover tight ends and backs out of the backfield in today's NFL and play the run, you're screwed.
Right.
Yep.
And you want to talk about where they're better. I think they're deeper at running back. So they're going to bring in a fullback now. They're bringing in a fullback now. They bring in A.J. Dillon, and they got another year with Will Shipley. I actually think they're built where those three guys can all run the ball. I think they're going to be wearing teams down by the fourth quarter. Howie is a year ahead of everybody. When everybody said the running game is dead, Howie said, I'm going to go to it. And now everybody's going to have to scramble to adjust. Teams build their defenses on stopping the pass and getting the quarterback. They can't stop the run. That's why the Eagles are going to be so much better than everybody else.
Hey, Mark, Booker didn't say he wanted Jalen Carter, did he?
Oh, he did. Yeah.
He said he looks forward to playing him.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Well, hey, let me circle. Hang on, let me circle that.
Yeah, go ahead.
A rookie. Hey, a rookie wants to take on that kid.
I'm going to tell you right now, you better not lose that game, Philly. You better not lose that game.
Keep telling yourself that.
I'm just saying, I got nothing to lose, man.
No, I'm not to lose. Your quarterback's legacy. 10 years.
Howie Roseman is a year ahead of everybody. We go 3 deep at running backs, and we can run the hell out of it. That our offensive line is the best in the business, and yet you can't guarantee that you're going to win your Super Bowl.
Is our offensive line not the best?
Bro, that's like
running back not the best.
That's like saying I'm not getting laid on my wedding night.
I'm not saying anything out of tune.
Bro. This is the honeymoon,
you see
man.
What I deal with more with
You're supposed to be making babies.
You see what I deal with this guy.
I just got married. I might get laid. I hope I get laid.
This guy's a lunatic.
You got married.
He avoids stuff with Dak all thing. Now he wants to hold me accountable. He's trying to get me to guarantee.
I will say this.
So you know what he wants to do, Sills, right? He wants me to guarantee on here so he could go make 5 videos getting all his Cowboys little subscribers all up. Oh, Eagle fans.
How many videos you made of me falling off the chair,
I know how you think. I wasn't born yesterday. I'm 3-4 steps ahead of you. I'm Howie Roseman of YouTube, baby. Don't you know that?
Howie Roseman of YouTube. Okay.
Well, he'll go make a video about that now. You watch. Okay. But Dak's not a choker. Dak, it's nothing's his fault. He's never done anything wrong.
If you're scared, say you're scared, man.
Never had anything. I've got nothing to lose going into that game. I can say that. Hey, I can say that. I have nothing to lose, Mark. I just won a championship.
Yes, you did.
I'm a Super Bowl champion. What do I need to win this game for? Then what do I need to win this game as much as you do? Your quarterback hasn't ever done shit.
Hey, wait,
My
he's
guy's
setting
already
you
won.
up, Philly. Philly, don't
I
you
know,
see
I know. Yeah, I know
he's
he
setting
is.
you
And
up.
that's why I'm not buying into it.
Not just we suck, we're no good, we have no shot.
That's what everybody says about us.
We're no good.
Yeah.
They got my quarterback on Pro Football Focus ranked as 17th. They've got like Geno
9
Smith
videos
and
today.
Trevor Lawrence rated ahead of him. Yeah.
Wait, PFF has Dak ranked 17th?
Yes.
That's
At 17.
What do they have hurt?
Hurts, it's Hurts, I think, is like 4. No, 5. They have Hurts.
It must be top ranked quarterbacks that don't choke. That's probably what the ranking is.
No, it's Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson.
Dude, Dak Prescott threw 37 touchdowns, was a number 1 seed. I think he's the only quarterback in history that's lost as a 1 seed, lost as a 2 seed. I mean, look, Stills, you talk about the MVP, and okay, the MVP of the Super Bowl is only 1 game. I agree with you in that, but Dak Prescott can't be held to that standard of Russell Wilson. He can't be held to the standard of Nick Foles or Jalen Hurts because he hasn't won games in the playoffs. He's never done it. Guys like Aaron Rodgers have done it. He should have done it more, but he's at least done it once. Dak hasn't, and Dak should have. And Dak had good teams. And Dak had teams that should have gone to the Super Bowl. And he choked.
You guys have been spectacular.
Boy,
I can't
that's
wait.
like being diddied.
Hey, wait a minute. Get this. It's like less than 100 days to that game.
It's 106 days, 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Oh, you got a countdown clock.
I got a countdown clock, man. I'm watching that mother humper every single day. I
love that. You have a countdown clock.
Countdown
I'm going to ask you to put that up.
Yeah,
every
he's counting down another ass beating. That's what he's counting down. Count down another ass beating.
And watch this. If Dak wins that game, he's 10-4 versus the Eagles.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, isn't it amazing that the Cowboy fans love to throw the 9-4 against the Eagles? But then when you talk about his 2 playoff wins in 10 years, they don't want nothing to do with that. Oh, that doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Back in the 90s, man. Back in the 90s, people cared about playoffs and winning big games.
I love it. All right, guys. You guys, thank you. You guys are so great. Make sure you check out the legendary Mark Holmes, how he covers the Dallas Cowboys. How many videos, Philly, today will he put out there that
that's 6.
This is unfair, PFF.
6. It's 6 today, but if I would have guaranteed, it would have been about 15. But
just
I didn't. He tried to bait me.
I'm not going to put myself out there and risk it. Just say that.
I know what you want me to guarantee it so you can make videos against me. It's like the whole thing with the secondary. I said the Eagles secondary would be better than Dallas secondary last year. He went and did all these videos. They held emergency live streams. Philly 500 said the Eagles got a better secondary. I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing.
I got it. Philly, tell the folks how they can find you, big man. Don't forget
Philly 500.
Philly 500. Yeah. Also, that's Champ, too, right?
Yeah, Champ. You could look up Champ or how to polish Super Bowl rings, whatever, They'll come right up.
Guys, I appreciate you guys so much. You don't know, man. And you should see. Hey, wait a minute, Philly, before I let him go, I text him. He goes, yeah, typical Cowboy fan like this. Look, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that he goes, that'll work. Philly's like this. Sills, it's always awesome coming on with you, man. I love coming on with you. Here's Philly. Here's Mark. Let me check here. I got to check with my schedule here. And, that'll work. You wrote that. You're looking at it now. You go, yeah, that'll work.
Oh, no.
Did you not write that?
No. Actually, but my daughter sent me this text that's kind of crazy. He said that they're posting pictures from the Diddy trial, and some of the sex workers said, he was my next door neighbor. Just like, how? It's like, oh, shit.
Oh, my God. They're posting pictures?
posting pictures of the sex
You
work.
better pray Dak don't show up on that.
Hey, Philly, there'll be 700 videos if that's the case.
Better hope Dak don't show up on there.
Hold on. This is a true story here. I wanted to go to that game. I want to go to that game really bad. And I said, Philly, it would break the internet if you and I went to that game together. He's like, man, I don't fly. He's like, I don't fly. I said, I will fly out to California and I will drive your ass across the country so we can go to that game. Did I or did I not?
Hey, Philly, you know what I'm working on? Wait a minute, guys. You know what I'm working on?
I do hate flying.
I'm working on a Morgan & Morgan suite for that Cowboy game for an event.
Oh, that's cool. In Philly?
In Philly. Dropping of the banner. I've been asked. John's coming on in a little bit here. And I've been asked. They got a box. They got a corporate box there at Lincoln Financial. So
and Mark said, I'll drive you. I said there's a better chance that we drive than me flying. So maybe
I'll do it. Can you imagine how many videos I would do going cross country with Philly 500 a day?
I know we never get there. Every 2 hours, I'll kill him. I'll ring his neck. I'm not pulling over again.
Yeah, I'd be sitting in the box, and you guys would still be in Dallas. And you'd be watching the game in Dallas.
Look at the scenic route. I'll kill him. I tell you, I won't be able to put up with it.
I got it. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you fellas so much, man. Again, legendary guys who I enjoy having on the program here. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, man. That's just great stuff. Yeah, I'm actually working on trying to get something set up, Morgan & Morgan, when it comes to the corporate box there at Lincoln Financial. So we could talk about that with John Morgan because he's going to be coming up here in a minute here. Hey, I tell you what, I got to hand it to Mark, man. He comes on the program and he battles for those Cowboys. It's been 10 years, dude. Actually, it's been 30 years. These guys got to step into the game here, man. And I actually like the shit talking that the guys are doing. I do. I think that's going to bring a little fire to September 4th. I'm looking forward to it. Mark's got a countdown clock. You can't get around that. That's awesome stuff. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Speaking of John, who's coming up here in a couple minutes. Number one injury law firm in America for a reason. We're over $30 billion recovered. And the number one reason they are number one is because they win. They got that $30 million settlement for the family here in Pennsylvania or down in Florida. They got $12 million. It's because they win. You know, our crime fighter, Clancy Boland, who's in Philadelphia, he absolutely is crime fighting in the city of Philadelphia. They've won case after case. Believe me, when they see Morgan & Morgan coming, they know this. Families are priority and families are number one. Do me a favor. If you're ever injured, contact my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLEX. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Our friend John Morgan's going to join us here in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk a little sports with him. And I got a big issue to talk to him about. That's about the NFL players being in the Olympics. We're going to do that a little bit on Caitlin Clark here, too, with him. So, guys, do me – by the way, we may be going to Philly soon because Morgan & Morgan may be asking me to go. So we may be doing something and setting something up here. We're working on it. And I'll give you more intel of what we're going to do as we go forward here with this. But I'm working on something pretty cool for all of us. We'll all get together. Hey, real quick, I want to show you something here about the Eagles. Do you know how many games the Philadelphia Eagles have played? Extra. Since 2021. Do you guys know how many games? You guys have played a total of 8 extra ball games, half a season. You think that becomes wear and tear on a team? Going that far each and every single year when you're playing basically almost an additional season of football games. How much does that put on you mentally to continue to keep that standard up so high? Think about that. You played 1 in 21, right? 3 in 22. You played 1 in 23. And in 23 or 24, you played 3. That's 8 ball games. That's a great point too, Sue. Look at how many games the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, Sue, do you not think the Chiefs look like they were out of gas in that Super Bowl? Especially in the second half. I mean, if the Eagles have played that many games, think about over the last 5 years, how many games the Chiefs have played. What, 12, 13? Dude, that takes a toll. You're playing a whole additional season when the rest of those guys are in Cabo. That's quite a task to continue that type of success and still maintain it, because remember something, this isn't the NBA. This is a physical sport. Okay? And hey, you can have the best team on the planet. When you're playing that amount of additional ball games, that wears and tears on the roster. That's why it is so imperative. In my opinion, it's so imperative that you have a great 53 man. And, when the Eagles have lost so many players, you've got to have a deep roster. You have to have a deep roster if you're going to continue that type of success. This is where Howie, again, the guys that you have brought in, are they going to be able to withstand that? There's a lot of new faces on that defensive side of the football. I'm not saying that they're not going to understand the culture, because a lot of you guys say that, we still have our 4 main guys. And that's pretty true. Still, new faces. I'll tell you one thing that I did like what Nick said about Kevin Patullo, the new OC. He said that, hey, man, make no mistake about it. There's a hunger. I'll say this to you too, man. Before we get John Morgan on, when you set a standard for excellence, that's not something you put on a chalkboard. You know what a standard of excellence is? You live it. You are it. If you're driven by, I've never made money wanting to make money. I made money with stuff that I've loved doing and had a passion for. That's success to me. Price tags, hey, peace of mind. I don't believe you can put a price tag on that. All right. National Football League thinks they're smart with this flag football. I couldn't wait to talk to John Morgan about this. John Morgan spends his entire life in a courtroom. I'll ask John this before we bring him up. Why do you think the NFL wants flag football? What's the biggest fear the league has? Is seeing John Morgan. They're a whole league of lawyers. You think I want to fight John Morgan on CTE? What's the best way to combat brain damage? Take the helmets away. Start a flag football league. Let them play in the Olympics. Moms are going to let kids play football. I never thought about this until the NFL Players Association pointed this out to me. You got NFL owners. John Morgan's a billionaire. You know how? Here's a rule. Sharks swim with guppies. They eat guppies. Okay? Let's bring my friend in. John Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, our dear friend.
Hello.
Hey, John, I got to tell you, man, at first I thought this thing was stupid with this flag football, but the biggest fear Roger Goodell has is CTE because they can't explain away. They want to add an 18th game. They keep talking about the tush push and player safety. That would be admitting that football can cause brain damage. They can't do it. That's why they kind of allowed it now. But, flag football, allowing the players to play in the Olympic Games, in the LA Games in 28. Isn't that one of the sidebar stories to this, John, is that the NFL's biggest fear is CTE. They don't want to be in a courtroom and have to explain the dangers of the sport when we see it every Sunday.
Well, to a degree, but let me explain a legal concept to you, and it's called assumption of the risk. When you take a risk and you know about the risk, they get to argue you knew and you assumed the risk. Now, every football player in the NFL knows about CTE by now. But every single one of them, except for a few like Andrew Luck, who is smart, says, listen, I'm not qualified to do anything else. And I'm definitely not qualified to make this kind of money unless you're Fran Tarkenton or Roger Staubach, who made a lot of money off the field. So I don't think it's so much CTE. I don't think they care about CTE as much as you think, or they wouldn't be talking about adding games. Look, 16 games, 17 games, Tua, they can at the end of the day, they're going to have helmets with big padding around it on the outside, but they don't really care. And these guys are well-paid gladiators. America likes going to a stadium and watching people be carted off. Last night, Anthony Edwards was carted off. We like that. People go to NASCAR. They like the speed, but they want to see the crash. We watch hockey. Look, with all due respect to all hockey people, I don't really understand the sport, but it's being watched for the violence, for the fighting.
Of course.
Every hockey player has no front teeth. I've never seen a hockey player with front teeth because they're all knocked out. So I just think it's more just trying to milk the cow from the last drop of milk. Now, what do I think about flag football? How did it work out in the Pro Bowl?
Right. Not very good.
I mean, look, you know where you play flag football? Catholic Youth League. CYA. Everybody in Philly knows about CYA. It's where the kids who can't play go to play. The other kids go to Pop Warner. With CYA, is like, hey, we'll do this before soccer starts. And it's just a way. But look, there is so little TV that all content is gold. Look, the other night I'm watching ESPN, one of the ESPNs, and they're playing cornhole.
Right.
On TV.
I know.
And you're sitting there. It's like, are we going to start watching dart contests? Are we going to, I mean, are we that bored? Are we that desperate for content that we're going to sit here and watch, Johnsonville Sausages tournament with cornhole? I mean, I'm talking about at night. This is
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Have you ever seen it? And it's like, so I think it's about money. I don't think the NFL cares about CTE. If they did, they would be taking care of these players after the fact. They would take all their billions of dollars and say to the Jim McMahons of the world, look, you gave us everything. We're going to set. I know we don't owe it technically. But you are a gladiator in our Coliseum and you built this league and we're going to, but they're not going to. It's called eyewash. We're very concerned. We got, padding inside the Rydell helmet now. It's extra padding. And we got this, this new surface. No, they don't care. If they care, they go spread the money around to the people who really have CTE and who got it in the NFL from repetitive hitting from the time they were little boys till the time they retired at 30, 31, 32, 33.
Absolutely, John. John, let me take you over here. So you tell me if I'm wrong with this, John. So I've never watched a WNBA game in my life until Caitlin Clark jumped on the scene here. This last game between Chicago and Indiana had 3.1 million viewers, which means you had the highest in ESPN history of any WNBA game of all time. That league has never been profitable in 30 years it's been in existence. Some white chick shows up. We're now talking the biggest story out of that game, John, wasn't the great battle between Angel Reese and between Caitlin Clark. It was about race. I've never heard a headline. My point is that the people that are running the WNBA are missing a gold mine here. Race sells. Jordan, when you had Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, two phenomenal players, John. Lakers, Celtics. It was a perfect storm. You had everything. The management of the WNBA, I think they're missing the boat here on this. This is a golden opportunity to raise salaries for everybody in the sport. But instead, they're so micro looking at race. That's the biggest story. Somebody may have said something in the stands. John, my takeaway was this. Hey, welcome to the world of covering big-time sports. That stuff happens all the time. That shit goes on at every event, every man's sport. How do you see this whole thing? Because I think the WNBA has an opportunity. I've never talked WNBA in my life, and here we are.
Well, I don't watch it either until Caitlin Clark. I mean, if you want to see something funny, Google Bill Burr, the comedian, his take on the WNBA. Just Google Bill Burr, WNBA. It's hilarious. But look, it is about race. It's totally about race. It's almost like Vince McMahon has put himself in charge of the WNBA because Vince McMahon knows how to have a villain.
Absolutely.
And the villain to the whites is Angel, whatever her last
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese. She's the villain to the whites. And the villain to African Americans is Caitlin Clark. And we're all it's the WWE, and we're all there. We got the two villains and the two heroes, and the place is sold out. It's genius. It's genius. And so, and the white people can't believe they finally got the star in basketball, because the only star we've really ever had as a white person is Larry Bird.
Absolutely. I
mean, there's been John Stockton and some Europeans, but basically, you look at the top 15 basketball players of all time, only Bird is the white guy in there, right?
But John, why is that so hard to push across the finish line with people that it's okay to sell that?
Well, listen,
why is that so hard?
Would you like to have the greatest pay per in the whole history of sports? Here's what it would be.
Yes.
African American NBA All-Stars versus white NBA All-Stars. It would be the most watched television event. And then you go to the football, African American versus white. Wow. And then baseball. If you had those three, sports on pay-per-view, those three events would be the most watched sports in the history of sports. Because, Dan, when you look at this last election that we had, it really was about race.
Yes, totally.
It was about race. The black prosecutors were persecuting Donald Trump, and the MAGA folks were being reversely discriminated against, and now they went to war. It wasn't about eggs. It was about affirmative action. It was about reverse discrimination. It was about reparations. There was a tension. Our cities, were on fire sometimes over race. When George Floyd was killed, the town erupted. It's a tinderbox waiting to happen. And Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are a microcosm of it. And it's manifested itself in sports. And it's great for the WNBA while it lasts.
Absolutely. John, I'm going to put you on another spot here. This is going to be a tough one. And I love the fact that you are not afraid to tackle every single issue that's out there. Speaking of politics, this was also a platform that Trump ran on versus Kamala Harris. How do you feel about Title IX? My daughter plays rugby, and, I don't want to see a dude in women's sports. But yet I want to be fair to people and everyone have a chance to bite the apple in life. And I don't want to discriminate against anybody. Yet I want to protect, because women's sports have been under assault for so long. And it's taken them so long. We just talked about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA and where it's going. How do you feel about, because again, I think people who stand on one side of the aisle on this topic, I think it's one of the most difficult topics to talk about for certain people. How do you feel about
because everybody is afraid of being insensitive, but here's how I feel about Title IX. First of all, when my daughter Kate was a little girl, I told her, don't be a cheerleader. Don't be a cheerleader. Be a doer. And I wanted her in team sports, and she played team sports. And I believe team sports are as important for girls as they are for boys. And because it's teamwork, it's fellowship, it's bonds forever, it's winning together, it's losing together. It has the same value that it has for boys sports. So I believe now, as far as Title IX, I believe it was a good thing because there are a lot of Caitlin Clarks out there that would not be here but for Title IX. And back in the day, there were no girls sports before Title IX. It was all football. And, and so we're taking some of that money from football and basketball and letting girls have their sports. Now, when you get down to should transgender athletes be allowed to compete? Look, there is no doubt in my mind that people who are transgender really have an internal struggle and really feel the way they feel. It's too drastic what they do not to feel it. And I don't believe that God or nature makes mistakes. I mean, I believe it. But then you got to say, what's fair?
Right.
Is it fair that you got 10 transgender swimmers who were girls are now transitioned to men that want to compete against millions of biological girls and their parents? And that side says that's not fair. That is just not fair. In the Oaks, you don't have boy horses running in the Oaks. They're all girl horses. Because look, there is a biological difference. If there wasn't, you would have one woman playing men's sports. You would have one woman in the NFL, you'd have one woman in the NBA, you'd have one woman in the Major League Baseball because they're eligible. They're eligible.
But John, how do you balance this? Not being prejudiced. I mean, is it a fear that we have by saying this? Look, I don't want dudes in women's sports. I want it to be, like you said, competitively fair. Why have women's sports if you're going to allow that? But then on the other hand, you don't want to come off like a jerk and you don't want to be discriminating against people. I mean, why is this a major polarizing issue on both sides of the aisle right now? How can you not be me again? I'm with you. I think God doesn't make mistakes. I think we have women's sports. I think we have men's sports. I think we give everybody an opportunity. I don't want to take scholarships away from a woman to have an opportunity to go to college. If a guy wants all of a sudden from UPenn, he couldn't make the men's swim team. Now he's making the chick swim team. I mean, I don't think that takes away from women and sets women back. How do you be? How are you fair?
Because it's not fair. It's just not fair.
I get it.
So I would be opposed to that. Listen, the election was lost largely on this issue of these 10 transgender swimmers. I mean, Kamala Harris went to the wall on that. She never, when it happened, I wrote Bill Clinton. I said, this ad is going to sink them. And he wrote me back, they have to answer this. But they never did. And when you have millions of mothers and fathers of little girls and college swimmers and Olympians who've worked their whole life for this moment to have a man transition to be a woman and then compete, it's not fair. And it's a matter of fundamental fairness. So do I seem like I'm not woke because I say that? I don't think so, because fairness has difference than being woke. It's just not fair. And to say that, I'm insensitive. Look, I feel for that person in a big way.
Me too.
I've got two nephews who are gay, and I know they struggled their whole life before they got to actually say it. And, but now they've said it and they're free. They're
Yeah.
free. It's an unbelievable thing. Look, you read it, Barry Diller. He just wrote this big book. He's been gay the whole time and he's had to hide it. Can you imagine having to hide who and what you are? It's terrible. But there are competing interests. There are the interest of the 10 transgender swimmers, and then there are the interest of the millions, and I mean millions of girls who play competitive sports, college sports, Olympic sports. And those two are way out of kilter. So, but it's the world we live in right now. And it's like the people who are most woke will say, yes, the man who transitions, but that dog did not hunt in this last election.
Absolutely not. John, we're bringing all these cool issues here because the NFL just came out. The owners are meeting in Minneapolis now. What do you make of this, John, that you're seeing baseball, PGA, you're seeing NBA now, they're going to play games in Saudi Arabia. How do you feel about Saudi money and equity firms from Saudi Arabia that here's people that were involved with dropping the buildings. Here's people that were involved with 9/11. And you can make a distinction of whatever you want. And by the way, this is not a political thing because Biden did business. Trump does business. He was just over there. I mean, how do you feel about them now getting involved in American sports and become part of the fabric? Because, John, we know this, you and me. Sports is like when you have the Gators or you have the Buccaneers or you have the Eagles, okay, those are civic pride things. You take great civic pride in your sports because, John, it's the only place in the world where you can get a Republican and Democrat sitting next to one another and you're at a Gator game going, hey, let's beat Tennessee. Nobody cares about what your politics is. What do you make of that, though, where, it's such a contradiction when you bring that kind of money in on those guys were responsible for one of the greatest moments and one of the most destructive moments in our history. And yet all of a sudden now we're allowing them in, not only in our business fabric, but also in our sports fabric.
Well, Phil Mickelson and company are all part of Live. Listen, when it gets down to money, people forget quick. People forget quick. And these, believe it or not, we look at them, we're like, why do they even care about sports? Other than, racing dune buggies out there. But they are really sportsaholics.
Oh, they love it.
They love it. And they want to be next to it. They got a lot of boxers go there and they got FU money. Look, I remember when I was little, I was like, how is oil made? They're like, well, the dinosaurs died and then the dinosaurs were buried and then the dinosaurs' bones turned into oil. I'm like, how many damn dinosaurs were there? I mean, this oil just keeps pumping. I know there's other ways for oil, but I keep thinking about, is the oil ever going to run out? And the way they control their kingdoms is with money. They spread out money. And what they're trying to do is to be accepted by the world. I mean, they're assassins. They're as bad as Putin. But guess what, Dan? The whole damn world is evil. The whole, is Putin evil? Yes. Is China evil? North Korea? You start going around the horn, excuse the sports pun. You start going around the horn. Who's not evil?
Right.
Who's not evil? And so they got all this money. The NFL knows they got this money today. Qatar gave Trump a $400 million jet, and that's okay now. And all the wheels are off. The guardrails are down. We are racing without seat belts in a convertible at 1,000 miles an hour. And I don't know what to make of it all, but it's all about the money. It's all about the quan. And the NFL, that's why they're going to have 18 games. And what's going to contribute to more CT than anything they can do? An extra game. Every time Tua has to play another game, he risks himself being brain damaged later in life, like in his 40s and 50s, or having a disproportionate chance of having ALS.
Absolutely. John, finally here. You know, I heard you on a radio show the other day. You were talking about the Rays, and I've had you on. I've had your son on. I've had Dan on. Why do you personally think that the Rays would be better off in Orlando than in Tampa? And John, I don't know how the NHL sold itself in Florida. Got the Panthers champions. The Lightning found a niche. If you would have told me baseball wouldn't make it, maybe it was because of all the minor league teams that we have still in the state of Florida, like they have in Arizona and Peoria. I mean, I don't know. But in your eyes, why do you think it's better off in Orlando than it would be in say, Tampa Bay, St. Pete?
Well, the reason I've joined the ownership group trying to bring it to Orlando, it's real simple. Look, it's a disaster in Miami. It's just the Marlins are a disaster. The Rays have one of the best baseball organizations in all of baseball. I mean, they got Billy Bean types over there just all the way up. They're champions. But here's the problem. First of all, St. Pete, it's never going to happen in St. Pete again. As you know, you lived here. It's over that bridge.
Never happened.
It's a bridge too far. Now they got to find a place to put it in Tampa. What we're looking at in Orlando is to bring it and put it right next to SeaWorld, right where all the attractions are. But here's the big reason, Dan. There are 80 million tourists that come to Orlando, Florida. The Magic, one of the sorriest teams in the history of the NBA, have one of the highest attendances year in and year out. Why? Because when the Sixers come to Orlando and the Philly and the Sixer fans are in Orlando, they go watch the Magic get their asses beat by the Sixers. When the Knicks come to town, they go watch the Magic get beat. When Detroit comes, they go. The Orlando Magic has been like the perennial Washington Generals. And the Globetrotters come in every night and whip up on them. But guess what? The Magic are okay because they're paying to get in. They're paying to get in. There's 80 million tourists. Why did Oakland, we talked the other day on the phone to the owner of the Oakland A's. Why did Oakland move to Las Vegas from Oakland? Las Vegas has 40 million tourists a year and a lot of action. And so for me, it's a business deal and if you can buy it at the right price, because it's not, he only paid a couple of $100 million for it. He could sell it for 1.2 or more. Stu could make $1 billion at least. But I believe that the upside for the new ownership will be tremendous because people would come, they go to Universal, they get a package for the baseball. It's all tied together. The stadium the site we're looking at is right next to SeaWorld, which is right next to Universal, which is right next to the Universal new park Epic, which is right down the street from Disney World. It's the tourist mecca of the world. If the Magic can draw like that, and look, and by the way, it's got to leave Tampa. It's got to have a dome because, as you know, it's too damn hot and too damn wet in Florida. But by the time this season's over, they're playing at Steinbrenner's Field. There are going to be so many rainouts and so many heat strokes. It's not sustainable. So John, that's why tourist.
I'll tell you what. When you said Savannah Banana,
yeah.
Hang on. I'm John. I don't know. Like you're like on top of everything. I'm like Savannah Banana. I was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm watching like the LA Stadium, the Dodgers. It's sold out. I'm like, what is this? This is a gimmick, right? The guy goes, no. I hear they went to Tampa, sold it out. They go all over the country. Is that kind of the environment you're looking at, of making it kind of a show? And
the families want a show. I don't, now the guys I'm involved with are baseball purists. My partner's Barry Larkin.
Yep.
Okay. So Barry's a purist. and Rick Workman, these guys are purists. I'm not a purist. I'm on both sides. I want to bring the kids there, and I want the kids to have a great time. I want the kids to have a fun time. The kids, listen, they get disinterested after a while in the baseball game. So you got to have a little bit of show. Look, my hero in life, my two heroes in life are P.T. Barnum and Walt Disney. So I'm a Savannah Banana believer.
Hey, I can just see it now. WonderWorks in center field.
Yeah. Hey, look, who in America do you know ever built an attraction like I did, WonderWorks, and I just turned it upside down? If you Google WonderWorks,
folks,
if you Google the 10 most interesting buildings in the world, 3 of my WonderWorks will be in that list. When your listeners hang up from us today, Google 10 most unique buildings in the world. I built what P.T. Barnum would have built, and I'd build that kind of energy if I got the franchise in Orlando.
Let me tell you something, folks. I've been to that WonderWorks, and my daughter's been to that WonderWorks. It's one of the funnest things we've ever gone to, and it's just a great time for kids. I love that thing. Hey, John, it's always great catching up with you, man. Thank you so much, brother. I mean, you know how much I love you.
And sorry about yesterday. I got mixed up. I was on this podcast. I missed a podcast at 10, and then they rescheduled it. I get demerits for yesterday. Or
never here.
In Catholic school, they used to take a ruler to our knuckles.
Wait a minute, John. I had a sister. Her name was Marjorie Fish, and what I used to always hate was, Dan Sileo, come see Sister Judith's office, please. And everybody in the place would go, "Ooh!" And there she was. There was Sister Marjorie Fish with her paddle with holes in it. I'm like, why do you have holes in it? So it goes through the air quicker.
I had Sister Richard Ann in the 4th grade, and if I don't believe she made it to heaven. She was mean to the bone.
John, thank you so much. My Catholic friend, I appreciate you very much. Thank you, man. Right. I love you, John.
See you.
Talk to you soon, my friend. All right. That is John Morgan. Great stuff, man. I've told you before about Sister Marjorie Fish. Yeah, man. She used to carve out holes in the paddle. And I don't know. Every time I walked in, she always had notches on her Catholic belt. And I always used to say, what are those notches on your belt, Sister Fish? And Sister Fish would look at me and go, well, you'll be about, let me see. Well, you'll be number 32. Well, wait a minute. I thought I was number 30. You were. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. To say that how many times do you think I got paddled at Catholic High? Oof. That sophomore year. No, they stopped paddling me when I was a senior, I think. When I was a senior, they stopped doing it. My aunt's watching this, so I'll have to get an update on that. Maybe sophomore. They would always call my grandfather. My grandfather goes, good. So I'm thinking sophomore, junior year. Sister Marjorie Fish got a hold of me. Yeah, I have to think that. Guys, it's been great. Always is. Big Z and Joe, thank you very much. You guys have been great. Please hit that like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.